Sounds like you have diarrhea.
I have several questions. All of them being why?
Sick stomach. Sounds like a sick stomach.
I could make the perfect slasher villain. Wouldn't you agree, Alex?
Yes. Yes, you could.
I could pretend to be a normal person while trolling people around me, being like, hey, what's going on over here? I just heard the door creaking. Really?
So, where's
Huh.
the watch party thing at?
Just go to critique of story and you'll see, and scroll up, you'll see the watch together link.
Critique of stories.
Yeah, go into the critique of story chat.
All I see is my memes.
Keep scrolling up. You'll see it.
I thought this was gonna be like a watch party thing, not the. Oh, there it is.
There you go. Alex, you have the link up.
Yeah, I've got the link
you
up.
Clicked on.
Also, we're live.
Yay!
Yes. We are live.
It's a bit later than usual, but whatever.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Copyright Strike on our Man of Steel video. Well, our video on the Nostalgia Critics video of Man of Steel.
It's funny how they'll copyright strike our thing, and yet they'll say, "Hey, like," and they won't, and yet Doug's video is still clearly up, and yet Doug made it Doug made it a point to criticize this bullshit.
DNU, Man of Steel 2013, active full movie cam footage. I don't know what that... This is not a fucking cam rip. Copyright owners, Warner Brothers Films. Blocked in all territories. Man of Steel reference, full movie master. Warner Brothers Films. It's the same space, and it... Like, the same period of time from 1 hour, 1 minute, 19 seconds to 1 hour, 1 minute, 50 seconds, and 51 seconds, respectively. So, let's go ahead and submit this copyright dispute. Copyright exceptions, such as fair use. Yes, yes, yes. Yes,
okay, so
our video is under fair use. Promotional video remix or mashup. Yeah. Let's see. Is it remix or mashup? Review, or I think it's a review.
Yeah, review.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Alex,
Yes.
I ended up posting my hypothetical cast for A Cold Day in Hell.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. This video is a
I'm surprised our critique
of a
I'm surprised our
review of the movie in question. The Nostalgia Critic and Angry Joe used the footage in their reviews based on fair use. We reviewed the reviews and included footage from the reviews under fair use. The footage is not taken from the movies, but from the reviews. And even so, the footage used is covered under fair use and is in no way a replacement for be for viewing the film in question. We have transformed the original content further than the original content was already transformed by Joe Vargas
And Doug Walker.
Vargas and Doug Doe Walker. Doug Walker. By pausing, commentating, and critiquing their video, and the claimed portion is far less than a minute of content please release this copyright claim and allow the video to be visible worldwide. Worldwider. Worldwide. Thank you. Thank you, yo. Thank you.
Okay. So now we're all...
Video does not infringe anyone's copyright. I understand the claimant will be able to review the video and dispute rationale. Filing fraudulent disputes may result in the termination of my YouTube account. I've never filed a fraudulent dispute in my goddamn life. I have had people file plenty of fraudulent claims on my videos, though, so I know how this game is fucking played. So let's go. Yeah, let me just make sure, copy that, because I'm gonna have to submit this to the other one as well. Dispute. Copyright exceptions such as fair use. Yes, it's fair use. Review. Copy paste the same thing I did before. And there we go. Here's hoping that the Man of Steel video will be able to be viewed.
So now we...
Yeah.
So, okay, so for context's sake, we watched both The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the course of 3 weeks. So, let's go ahead and get this started since we waited long enough. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Jester?
Yep.
All right, let's do this. Oh, hold on a sec.
Is the video muted?
Spider-Man!
Turn it down.
Spider-Man movies.
And
it was a lot
There
of...
we go. That
Okay,
should be good.
let's rewind, because apparently I had the video muted for some reason.
All right, so...
Off to a
Let's
flying
try-
fucking start, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's do it.
You're a fraud, Spider-Man!
So a couple weeks ago, I had a look back on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. And it was a lot of fun.
You are a shining example of snowflake millennials that don't understand jokes. Now, go wear the dress your husband bought you and stop making YouTube videos.
I hadn't seen
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Jester,
History.
Jester, you need to mute your audio.
Oh,
Oh, just mute it on your end.
I just muted the video. I could probably watch it from this.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm on mobile anyways.
Okay, I think that was the one comment he actually brought up for this. Because I think I saw it, but I don't know at what point.
Cosmonaut, if you're watching this, it would be more effective to show just more than one comment.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Even
it makes you.
even Doug showed more than one comment for his Man of Steel review.
I mean, granted, those were all like fake, but you got the spirit of it at least, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you only just show one comment, that just shows you're just anal hurt about just one guy just shit talking you.
Yeah. Anyway.
The movies in a while, and it helped me appreciate them a little bit better. I had lots of reasonable points that everybody unanimously.
You had no reasonable points. You literally made not a single reasonable point throughout that entire fucking movie.
He shows more comments here.
What's next? Water is too wet for your face?
We're about to put some dirt in his eye.
Okay, so can someone give me a little bit of context on what he was saying?
Or Cosmo basically just bitched about how Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films were not what he wanted, I guess. If you want a full breakdown of why the review was so shit, just go back and watch the fucking video we did, because I don't even want to fucking talk about it again.
Yeah. Anyway.
I hope that you burn in the deepest hole on the hell and then Doom Guy appears in front of you. And
was this even in response to the first review?
Cosmo has a lot of shitty opinions, so who knows?
Anyway.
Then I remembered that there's a Spider-Man movie that I haven't seen. And of course, I've heard terrible things about it. Every film critic on YouTube has already talked about this movie. But I kinda just got here, and I didn't get to talk about it, so I want my turn. I am of course talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2. However, there is one movie that came out before that. A movie that I have seen. Once. When it came out. So before we start, I have a quick thing to address about my last video, because it comes into play when reviewing these movies. Lots of people seem to mistake me teasing the campiness of the Sam Raimi trilogy as a bad thing. I said many times that
It certainly didn't come across like that in the fucking video, Cosmo.
Huh?
Like what the fuck, guys?
Anyway.
Like how campy these movies are. I wholeheartedly believe that the corniness was intentional on Sam Raimi's part. My point was that the campiness is more of a product of the time, and this level of comic book silliness
No, it's a product of the fucking director.
Today's standards.
It's a product of the goddamn director, guys.
I guess that we don't see fucking corny shit today at this point.
Like the whole shit about the family shit in Black Widow. How much bullshit?
And all of Awkwafina's scenes in Shang-Chi that were completely unnecessary. Some of the comedic bits in No Way Home.
And Far From Home. And all of the comedy in Homecoming. And most of the comedy in Civil War.
Marcus simps for Homecoming.
And, like, half the fucking jokes in Age of Ultron. Approximately 50% of the jokes in both Guardians movies. Like, of the time, go fuck yourself. We're 20 years later, and there are films making worse jokes.
Yep.
What the hell?
But overall, I like the campiness, and I embrace it. It makes the movies 100% more enjoyable. But I'm not bringing this up to save face. You guys know I don't really care if people disagree with me or misinterpret my videos.
Except you clearly do.
I don't care if people disagree with me or misinterpret my videos.
I don't care so much. I'm going to complain about it at the start of the video before we do our review.
Yeah, I was about to say you spent 2 minutes talking about it, and granted 2 minutes isn't a whole lot, but you're complaining about it here, and you're trying to say, like, you... Let's be clear here. Here, if we go back to the original video, you didn't really come across as though you liked a lot of the campiness stuff, except in terms of, like, you know, you called stuff campy that was entirely serious. You called stuff, ridiculous that only you thought was ridiculous. And then you said, oh, I liked all of that stuff. You were pointing that out as a negative aspect of the film, for one thing. And for another, you know, you're acting like you're in on some kind of joke, when in half the time, there's not really a joke. You're creating a joke out of something that's entirely on the level. There is no level of irony here, you know?
To be fair, Alex, his whole channel is a huge joke, so it's understandable.
Oh, okay. So, see, that makes sense. That's what I wasn't taking into account.
Anyway,
I'm bringing this up because this is exactly why I hate the...
I do want to say something. Him bad-mouthing like a film, he might be going for this kind of approach. I'll be the devil's advocate here. He might be going for like well, I just shit-talking because, you know, it's like a friendly kind of way. Because I'll admit I do that with some of my friends. I shit-talk them, but I always say you're my best friend and all that.
Oh, like how I am with Ben and calling The Empire Strikes Back absolute trash.
it's not trash.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just I have a deep-seated hatred of that film. Oh man,
I failed to see why.
That film killed my parents.
But both of your parents are alive and well.
I know. I had to go get new ones.
Hi, welcome to Build a Parent.
The Amazing Spider-Man movies. At their worst, the Sam Raimi movies are still fun to watch. The worst one in the trilogy is really funny. Like, you can't have a bad time watching this movie. But these...
You sure about that? Because plenty of people have voiced that they've had a bad time watching Spider-Man 3.
If you watch Spider-Man 3, you're gonna have a bad time.
If you watch Spider-Man 3,
except
you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, parts of the editor's cut is objectively better than the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I will say that the inclusion of a bunch of the deleted scenes in that, excuse me, makes it quite good, but those scenes should have been included in the theatrical cut, I think, because the theatrical cut, the theatrical cut has sort of a better structure to it, whereas the editor's cut has more flesh to it, you know?
The editor's cut just has Peter doing the Saturday Night Fever strut after nearly killing Harry. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Anyway.
These movies are fucking miserable to watch. They have
miserable to watch while showing a scene that is literally supposed to be miserable because it's Uncle Ben's death.
I think it's meant to portray what he thinks the audience feels about these movies.
Okay.
Granted, I'm like, yeah, no, there are still plenty of people who think The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Have you not seen, like, the scenes where Peter's goofing off being a fucking troll to the villains?
He criticizes that in the TASM 2 segment of this review.
Oh, that's fun. We'll get to that, I guess.
They have little to no humor. They have almost no signs of life whatsoever.
While showing a comic relief scene with one of the most beloved characters in the two movies. Okay, Cosmo, you know, we started as we meant to go on with your previous review. You're missing the point again.
As if he ever had it to begin with.
Well, I mean, it's not like the movies are dark and gritty, so...
Yeah, this isn't a dark and gritty reboot.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a completely serious Spider-Man. It's not like Spider-Man's all about goofing off completely.
Well, the thing is, like, treating Spider-Man seriously is not the same thing as like removing all of the any kind of weight. Adding weight to Spider-Man isn't the same as removing all humor, you know? Because like Raimi and Webb both had a lot of weight to Spider-Man. It's just, and they didn't remove the humor. The biggest thing I'd say, like my personal critiques of the parts that I'm pretty sure, or could have, you could have done something about, is like I wish there was more narration in the Amazing Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's inner voice is a major part of the comics. Because he's always thinking aloud, talking to himself, you know?
It's weird how, it's honestly weird how the Andrew Garfield movies don't really have him talking to himself, and even the first MCU movie, he in some way was talking to himself, albeit through an AI, but it was still him talking to himself.
Yeah, that
in some way.
That's one thing I'll give it. Like they at least had some kind of external dialogue. But
plus there was also the fact that Peter was just goofing around with the web gadgets on his suit just to pass the time, because he's a zoomer in that movie. And I'm just like, that's entirely relatable, because there are many aspects of Peter that are relatable to so many people. I'm very certain.
Mm-hmm.
It's what adds appeal to the character. Anyway.
Don't have any uplifting or inspiring moments like the Spider-Man movies that come before or after. You don't have.
Are you fucking kidding me? The fucking crane scene, the scene of Peter saving the kid on the bridge,
even as someone who does enjoy the MCU Spider-Man, even I gotta agree that there were some uplifting moments in the TASM movies, albeit I'm not that big a fan of them, but still...
Saving fucking Max in TASM 2? Like that whole thing where he was like, oh, hey, gotta keep an eye out for everybody, man. And, just little things where he interacts with the civilians.
Yeah.
Didn't he also want to try to redeem one of the villains at the fucking end of one of those two movies?
No. I think it was trying to redeem the villains in... I think it was No Way Home you're talking about.
No, I mean like one of them was trying to save the electricity dude or something?
No.
Likable characters and charming, over-the-top performances. This review took a really long time to make because I couldn't even sit...
Green Goblin was not over the top. Green Goblin was exactly what Green Goblin needed to fucking be.
Yeah. Oh, and he also says there were no over-the-top performances in TASM, and I'm like, are you ignoring Paul Giamatti as the fucking Rhino?
I was gonna say, yeah.
He had no idea that he wasn't filming for a cartoon. That's all we could really say about that performance.
Hey everybody, I'm the Rhino!
I will sport bad Russian accent for this movie.
The only person who will compete with me for worst Russian accent in Marvel film will be fake Hellboy and Black Widow.
Because of recent events, I am now a villain with a Russian accent. Because Russia is an asshole nation, apparently.
Anyway.
Sit down and finish Amazing Spider-Man 2 in one go. It took me 3 days to watch it completely.
How?
3 days!
So with all...
How? It's only 2.5 hours. It's not that bad.
It's because apparently he thinks it was that bad. It took me 3 days to make that potato salad. 3 days!
Cosmo.
I think every time he was watching it, he had to pause every 5 minutes and cry to himself.
He cried himself to sleep.
Cosmo. I was and still am a movie critic. I have sat through far worse films than The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in one go. Far longer films, too. I watched Transformers 5 in one sitting.
I watched all of the Transformers movies.
Yeah,
He's not in one sitting, but you get the idea.
I've seen all of the Transformers films, start to end. You know, different days, obviously, but I've seen them all without pausing in the middle and, you know, going off to do something else for a day. I've seen fucking Jupiter Ascending, start to finish.
By the way, Doug
Kevin,
Walker has also done a review of that film.
Yeah, excuse me. Kevin, you and I have sat through far worse films that have lasted far longer than The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
Have you ever watched Highlander 2, Cosmo? Have you?
Clearly not.
Oh, if you thought The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was bad, that Highlander 2 would fucking kill you.
Yep.
So with all that said, let's get started. We're gonna start with the first movie, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Proceeds to like Highlander 2 just to
Now, if
spite
I'd
me.
never heard of Spider-Man,
Oh,
if
that
I
would be
wasn't
like
a huge
him.
fanboy cuck shill like I am, would I hate this movie? No, probably not. There are two ways to approach a review of this series: as a Spider-Man fan and as a film fan. For instance, YMS's review from a few years ago very much focuses on how this movie fails as a film, while
Okay, I'll focus on how it fails as a film. It's got 3 villains with diminishing screen time, and 2 of them are just tacked on.
Yep.
Screen Crush's video looks
fair,
at how the
it
movie
can
fails
work.
as a
Okay.
Spider-Man film. Now, as someone who
To be fair, 3 villains can work if the 2 villains you brought along are minor ones. Like, I don't know, what are some minor Spider-Man villains? Like, is there some kind of like
The Shocker. The Shocker as like a minor villain worked in Homecoming.
Here, Shocker!
Because Shocker's biggest claim to fame is the meme, you know?
Shocker!
Or how
You
about,
can't escape me. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth.
or is there some kind of like a dumb, stupid, obnoxious, obscure villain? Like, I don't know, Sandy Rosebud or something. Is there a villain like that? That would probably work.
Not really, no.
But you get what I mean, though, right?
No, yeah, I get you.
Right. Anyway.
who really likes Spider-Man and someone who really likes movies in general, I'm going to try to do both. As far as general story structure, pacing, and acting go, things could be way worse. It's not really remarkable, like there's really nothing interesting happening here, but there's nothing horrible either.
Hey, Jester, again, you might want to lower your volume on the phone you have, because that's probably what's causing the echo.
See, I can't hear that echo on my end, so I don't... The echo went away a while ago.
Horrible either. Now, I'm of the opinion that you can change stuff about superheroes in their movies if it makes the movie better. I already talked about how changing the Mandarin into a different character wasn't a bad idea, and how it actually worked out pretty well. Currently,
Everybody disagrees with you in that opinion, Cosmo.
Oh my god.
I don't entirely, but I do get the criticism.
It should have been a triple cross, like literally. At the end of,
Alex, why do you think I'm having the narrative? Why do you think I'm suggesting the narrative of the Mandarin and being Zhu Wenwu or Fu Manchu as opposed to like this whole thing, like basically have him be behind it the whole time
and have that guy beat Trevor Slattery.
No, it's like
And just end All Hail the King with him saying, "And you'll never see me coming."
So perhaps Trevor would actually be really in on it, and just having subtle communications with Zhu Wenwu.
No, like he actually is Zhu Wenwu.
So he just takes off the mask and reveals himself.
Not
Okay.
like more like Trevor Slattery was just sort of a cover for him, like so that he wouldn't be, he could have what's his name Killian as a fall guy, and then have
Well, here's the thing. They also mentioned that he had plastic surgery, so that's why nobody really recognized him as an actor. Or in there, plus every scene where he's like in the frame is like shot so it's obscuring his face. And he's a bit.
Yeah.
So, I do want to say something about changes from comics to movies. Sometimes it should be a little bit necessary just to give it a little spin, like, you know, with the minor villains that people don't like. You know, if people don't like that shit, just change it for the movie. People would appreciate that a lot more.
If you have a more interesting idea, I'm perfectly willing to hear it. But honestly, like, I've seen people do such terrible spins on characters when they're trying to make something original that largely just stick with the fucking comics unless it's something really stupid. Like
yeah.
Like when you have a guy named Sword
Anyway.
Battle, when you have a guy named Sword Battle, don't give him a fucking lance in the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In the movies, Thor is a fucking clown, and everybody likes it, including myself.
No.
Thor isn't a clown in Thor 1. Thor isn't a clown in Thor 2. He's a fish out of water. What the fuck do you expect?
And I realized where the echo came from, Alex. It was because I had your screen share on.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and the thing is, it's like, even in Ragnarok, he wasn't really being a clown. It was more like
the world was shitting on him.
Yes, it was more like the world was dunking on him. It was taking him down a number of pegs, and then Avengers Infinity War just, you know, broke him.
There's a difference between comic relief and a fucking clown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Thor isn't a clown. He's just, you know, in the mindset of never needing to never submitting to any of the inevitable because it's inevitable that he's going to win. Because, you know, he's the space god. Like, even if he's been humbled, he still knows the score. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what sets up his character in Ragnarok. Could have been done better, but I get it. Anyway.
This is not how he is in the comics. He's not a fucking goofball. But they decided to make him funnier because he just wasn't resonating with audiences.
You sure about that?
Okay. He kind of was a little bit goofy in the comics, though. He's a massive sore thumb. He sticks out a mile away. He speaks in this, like, flowery Shakespearean dialogue. And everybody's...
May I say to you?
Ophelia, can the fuck it off?
Has anyone seen the Solid JJ video where Hulk pretty much comments on the stuff on the aspects that he shares with the rest of the Avengers, like the fact that he doesn't, like, why does he need to throw a shield when he can throw a semi-truck? Hulk doesn't need the hammer when he is the hammer. Also, Thor needs a thesaurus. Nay, I say to you! And Hulk can jump really high, which is more cost-effective than jet fuel, and he can afford said jet fuel because he has a PhD and is a nuclear physicist in his spare time. Yes, his Bruce Banner persona is his spare time. That skit is fucking hilarious. Anyway.
Changes aren't bad. They actually make the characters a little better. However, when you make Batman pull out a gun and shoot people...
This is the apocalypse! It's the fucking apocalypse! Parademons have taken over the planet, and Superman's soldiers are fucking killing all of them! This is the worst possible timeline! This is using the fucking... This is the Batman Beyond situation where he's using the fact that Batman is using a gun to show that things have gone to shit!
Okay, to be fair, I'll agree with him on this. Mainly because Batman has shown multiple times that he will not use a gun. He does not want to use one.
Batman Beyond.
Well,
Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond actually had Bruce nearly suffer from a heart attack, and he resorted to pulling out a gun, which caused him to retire from being Batman.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no, I understand that. I'm just
He
saying, like...
doesn't like guns so much that the one time he did use a gun, he retired afterwards.
But, this is a situation where he can't fucking do that, you know? Well, like, he is in the worst possible situation he could be.
Yeah,
Well,
the world's gone to shit, and he's trying every single thing possible to do something about this situation.
Yeah, his back is well and truly against the wall in this situation. This is not
something where he could he could be merciful to people, because even the most pacifistic person would end up having to resort to killing in this situation.
Yeah, but I think Bruce would still use other things besides guns at this point.
Nah.
Though.
Oh, have you seen the Tim Burton Batman movies? He's a fucking psychopath in those.
It's like, oh yeah, I won't use a fucking gun, but I'll blow you to shit.
And I'll throw you off the edge of a church.
Fuck Gwen Stacying these guys. I'm just gonna, like, straight up and down on fucking and Homelander them.
And here's the thing, Jester. Batman has multiple ways of killing a person without using a firearm. Him using a firearm is merciful.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think that's a very good change. I don't think you should have done that. And that's the main problem with this entire series. It doesn't understand Spider-Man. It doesn't understand...
But the opening of this actually understands Spider-Man in a comic accurate sense, and I base this off the fact that Totally Not Mark has has read through the comics and has seen the movie, so that he can have a basis on the accuracy of some of the characters in the movies. And yes, he says that at the start of the Andrew Garfield version is a tad bit more accurate than Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I'd have to say that, because I've read a shitload, and I do mean a shitload of Spider-Man comics, and as a Spider-Man fan, the opening of this movie fucking sold me. On like, the rest of the film.
Right. Anyway.
Understand the stuff that makes Spider-Man work. So let's run down all these little issues, because the little stuff really adds up. So the second this movie starts, we are shown the first thing that's wrong with this series. It over-romanticizes the concept of Peter Parker's parents.
Like the comics did. Because there was an entire series of comics about his parents being agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And here's the thing, Steven Krozik is also a fan of the MCU Spider-Man, but at least he explains that he was more of a fan of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which is somewhat more akin to what MCU Spider-Man was going with. However, Marcus here is being quite disingenuous with where he comes from on this.
Did you never wonder why Spider-Man wound up with Aunt May and Uncle Ben in the first place? It's because his parents are fucking dead.
Yes, his parents, like Bruce Wayne's, are fucking dead.
My parents are dead!
And both Gar and Batman are like, we feel your pain, bro. We feel your pain.
Oh, sweet, I get superpowers. Yeah, but we're gonna have to kill your family.
What? In Peter's case, he loses both his father figures.
Mm-hmm.
Say that 3 times fast. Peter Parker's parents.
Peter Parker's parents. Anyway,
now the comics have done this a little bit too, but it's not something that's ever focused on, because Peter Parker's parents don't fucking matter. It's kind
of course they fucking matter.
They kind of do matter. Anyway.
Kind of asking a lot for the audience.
Matter to Mario.
When Princess Peach is the entire goal of Mario, going out of his way to plow through Bowser's henchmen and just to get some nookie.
How much turtle and mushroom soup will you make to get to that peach pussy, Mario?
I'll make all of that.
I just don't want you some cake.
Cake being a euphemism for sex.
I don't need any more turtle and mushroom soup. I just don't want some fucking cake.
Screw you, Daisy. Annoyed. Screw you, Peach. I prefer a Daisy. Mario.
Daisies with Luigi.
Mario, what the fuck?
Anyway.
To care about Aunt May, Uncle Ben, and his mom and his dad all in one movie. That's too much, and it's unnecessary.
No, it's not.
There's no...
Evidently to him it is.
How? What the fuck? How is
just
it too much? It's not that hard.
Oh god.
Just remember.
That's too much to care about.
Just remember this man. Just remember this man right now is responsible for unleashing Cretaceous period locusts onto people.
Yeah, that's another subplot to add to that film. My son got abducted to another universe. Time to genetically engineer giant world-eating locusts.
We both love that movie, but we both love that movie, but god damn it. That's hilarious.
Dad, with science like that, you could cure
have
cancer.
His parents be so important in this.
I don't want to cure cancer, son. I want to breed giant world-eating locusts.
So important
I
in
don't
this
wanna
movie.
cure
If you completely
cancer.
take these
I
two
wanna
characters
cause
out, it does
it.
not change the narrative one bit. Instead,
And they get the cancer gun from the Harley Quinn show.
I'll remove his parents, and it doesn't change the narrative one bit, except for the, the connection with Kurt Connors, where he goes to talk to Kurt Connors and gives him the serum, or gives him the formula that kicks off the plot for the rest of the goddamn movie.
This is why I'm not writing Spider-Man. This is why Alex is doing it.
It's almost like this is a fucking plot. This is the plot of the movie, guys. Cosmo, what are you talking about? This is worse than your Man of Steel review. This is worse than your BVS review. This is worse than that was Doug, right? Doug was complaining about all the plots in the subplots in Man of Steel. Yeah, this is worse than that.
So,
Yeah, but here's
I
the
got
thing.
a
At the
question.
very least, Doug actually understands why people like Man of Steel as opposed to Marcus.
This is one fucking
guys.
subplot that kicks off the main plot of the film. This isn't too much. It's a simple cause and effect. Peter, the whole reason Peter gets bit by the spider is because he goes to Oscorp because he found his dad's briefcase.
So I got a question. He's saying that the parents and Uncle Ben are unnecessary, right?
Well, he's saying that parents are unnecessary. He's not saying Uncle Ben is unnecessary. Yet.
I mean, let's put things like this. If you take out the parents and shit and replace it with something else, just because the replacement's probably not going to be the good idea. Or a good,
Now, granted, it was just a regular old field trip in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
you can, and you could have done it like that in here, but this gives like a little bit more of a sort of a personal aspect of the plot. It's directly Peter's fault that Kurt Connors was able to turn himself into a fucking lizard.
Yep.
basically, what I want to say is, sorry.
It just becomes, oh, Norman Osborn created the spiders. He created the superpowers. Okay.
Didn't Oscorp create the superpowers in Sam Raimi's movies?
It's not explained directly in the movies, but yeah, they did. That was their fucking demonstration. That's part of why Norman was there.
Yeah.
He wasn't just dropping off Harry. He was there to check on the shit that was going on there, because that's part of the fucking super soldier serum recreation program, because it was based on the fucking Ultimate Comics, which this is also basing on the Ultimate Comics. It's because the super spiders were engineered to recreate the super soldier serum. which would have tied into Captain America: The First Avenger, but Sony and Marvel couldn't work out a fucking deal, so fuck it.
Anyway.
Okay, that's exactly what it's like in the Ultimate Spider-Man series. That's exactly what it's like in the original Sam Raimi movies. I really do not understand why his parents are so focused on in these movies, because it doesn't go anywhere.
It didn't go anywhere because the third film was fucking canceled! And they cut they cut Richard Parker's final scene out of The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It was an alternate ending thing. Jester. Anyway.
It's not that hard to motivate Spider-Man. Show me Uncle Ben getting capped, have Aunt May say something nice.
I was gonna say
bing, bang, boom, it's a Spider-Man story. It's not that hard. Now, the second movie talks about his parents way more.
Yeah, Jester, what were you gonna
save it for that?
What were you gonna say, Jester?
I was gonna say, just because something can be replaced doesn't mean that what you're gonna replace it with is going to be good. 9 times out of 10.
Oh, you mean like the subversion of expectations in The Last Jedi and Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh dear God, let's just say that just because something can be explained by giving it another explanation, or giving it another cause in the movie to move on, doesn't mean it's going to be a good one.
Right.
I just wanted to vent about that shit for a second, because...
Yeah.
Anyway.
For now, let's talk about the next shitty thing in this series, Andrew Garfield.
Fuck you, I love him.
Yeah.
Bro!
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, he's grown on me a bit more. Or as time goes on, it's like...
Shitty.
I like all three of the Spider-Man actors in their own way, because they all do embody some traits of the character, or to some extent.
I so fucking want a Spider Bros movie.
Can we just imagine? I'm still imagining that scene where our Spider-Man and the three other cinematic Spider-Mans are just doing that stupid dance thing outside of the
Why are there 3 guys
outside the Sanctum Sanctorum?
Why are there 3 guys who look suspiciously similar? Her hip thrusting in front of Doctor Strange's house.
And then Doctor Strange just joins in, because why the hell not?
Let's talk about the next shitty thing we're watching. This guy's video.
Andrew Garfield is an actual good actor.
Sorry, my Prada's at the cleaners! Along with my hoodie and my fuck you flip-flops, you pretentious douchebag!
You can tell that all the things...
We just saw Peter Parker chew out Lex Luthor. That was actually a funny scene.
That is so fucking hilarious in hindsight. It's like going back and watching The Prestige and seeing like Hugh Jackman, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson, Christian Bale, and David Bowie all in that fucking movie. And it's like Wolverine goes to the Goblin King because he needs to beat Batman in a magic competition.
Oh, even better. Or we have J. Jonah Jameson beating the shit out of Mr. Fantastic in Whiplash. While Mr. Fantastic is dating Supergirl.
We don't talk about him being Mr. Fantastic or her being Supergirl. That was Melissa Benoist, right?
Yeah, it was her debut.
Yeah, we don't talk about those
for obvious reasons.
The Supergirl show is terrible, and the Force.
They had an alternate universe Rule 63 Brainiac 5 in that show, and I'm like, no,
Brainiac with tits?
No, Brainiac 5 with tits.
Damn.
Anyway.
Things that are wrong with his character are really not his fault, and that he was told to do this shit. But I did rip into Tobey Maguire pretty egregiously, so we gotta be fair. Like I said, Tobey Maguire was doing a way better job than Garfield as Peter Parker. And that's because his version of Peter Parker was written way better than this one. He was a huge...
Okay, that's down to interpretation, I suppose. That's a perfectly That's a subjective critique if I've ever heard one.
That's subjective opinion.
But let's be fair, this is a decent point, I guess, on his video, even if it is subjective.
I will be right back. You guys can keep going without me. Hey, but I have to hit the restroom real quick.
All right. Anyway.
He was a huge nerd, and he was a fucking loser. Now, yeah, Andrew Garfield has these scenes of technobabble where you can see that he's actually kind of...
I'm gone. Sorry, don't worry about it. Swear all you like.
These scenes of technobabble are part of what make Peter Parker Peter Parker.
Intelligent.
How did you come up with this?
And in some scenes...
Don't even bother to show the full scene. Marcus, to show how he came to that conclusion. Just make it seem like he was stumped.
Context is always important.
To him, it's not.
He's a fucking idiot.
It's called strategy. I'm sure you're aware of the term strategy. You've probably heard about that in school.
But he has way too much...
What the hell did I miss? Was it
Basically,
Marcus being stupid?
He basically was like, oh, there are scenes where he's got technobabble. And then there are also scenes where he's bumbling around, and the second scene he showcased was Peter being lectured by Dennis Leary at the dinner table.
Hey, the technobabble in a science fiction movie. Yeah, we're definitely complaining about the right things here, Marcus.
And we haven't even gotten to Uncle Ben's death.
Confidence. He doesn't have that wallflower quality that Peter Parker needs. He's not a nerdy outcast. He's a fucking skater.
He literally... Okay. I'm gonna go back to what I said back when we watched this movie. Hey, I was a nerdy outcast. I was basically the real-life version of Peter Parker in this movie, except I didn't get spider powers. He gets constantly passed over. He gets bullied by Flash Thompson, and people are like, "Oh, hey, can you do this?" And it's okay, yeah,
We'll get to Flash Thompson in a few moments.
Why? Okay, remind me again why the fuck people have to confuse nerdy with smart. Nerdy is not smart. I know a lot of nerds that are fucking dumbasses, for God's sake.
Well, he is.
Dear God.
He's both smart and a nerd. That's the thing.
Yeah. This guy's confusing nerd with smart, though.
Oh, Alex. So in the scene for Iron Man 2, when the Titans are helping out with dealing with the hammer drones, since I imagine Gar saving Peter and company, how much would Peter be geeking out over being saved by one of Star Trek's most prominent and celebrities in our universe?
I think he'd almost. I think he'd like wonder if the drones had killed him, because he's definitely gone to heaven.
I do want to also point out that okay, so you guys know this movie more than me. Is this guy kind of a skater or whatever? The Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's got a.
Skaters are notorious. I just want to say skaters are notoriously the fucking outcasts in every single bit of media. I think they're still an outcast in today's society.
Yeah,
so.
Like the biggest skating got was back when Tony Hawk was big. So we're not exactly talking mainstream shit here.
And even then, I don't think skaters were like mainstream at all. They were seen as like the fucking losers, the fucking people that you just want to avoid the hell away because you think they're gonna do drugs later.
Yeah. Like anyway. there are a ton of fucking skateboard nerds around here. I was one of them. I'm only not one anymore because I can't ride a fucking skateboard anymore.
I want to try to ride a skateboard.
He's less geek and he's a little more freak, if you get what I'm saying. You get it? I referenced the show that the Green Goblin's in. Anyway, and this is a core.
The Green... What? Harry wasn't the Green Goblin.
I think he's just referring to James Franco in general.
Well, let's move on before we get cancer.
Anyway.
And this is a core aspect of Peter Parker that I think you should not change under any circumstances. I made fun of Tobey Maguire's punchable face, but
Peter is a geek in every universe, or it's just represented through different aspects of his character.
It's like, oh, he's not enough of a geek. He fucking...
Hell, he's even an outcast in the MCU movie. He's just because, you know, he's this nerdy kid who's hanging out with this other nerdy kid, and that looks quite unappealing.
It's like
to
he's a
most
fucking
of these people.
AV geek, for fuck's sake. Like, you want to complain about Andrew Garfield not being nerdy enough when he's got his house is littered with fucking robotics and breadboards. He's got he does like photo and video editing on his computer at home and stuff like that, and he's got camera equipment and shit.
And hell, MCU Peter actually edits his own stuff for his Google AdSense account. And when he's going around doing Spider-Man shit.
Yep, that's yeah, he's a retro computing geek. You know.
Let's remember not to confuse smart with geek, because
he's both of those things.
Yeah.
I know.
Peter is one of the most intelligent characters in all of Marvel.
I know. I just want to clarify that, because here's the thing. If we're talking about smart people being geeks in high school, then people like the jocks would be the geeks. Because I know notoriously that jocks have to have high grades to even stay on any team.
Oh, that depends.
Yep.
That entirely depends, though. Because, like, they will just fake grades sometimes.
Yeah, but if they don't, they have to have high grades just to stay on any team.
Yep. Anyway.
But I think the punchable face is way better than the sexy face. Can we please...
I think that hero man is too sexy. I bet his dick is too big.
Oh god, he's too sexy.
No, he's hot.
Wait. No, wait, you were referencing Squidward. You weren't referencing that one weird animated thing where there's this Super Sentai group of furries. Why are they so sexy?
Oh, Furry Force!
Oh god, you've seen it too!
Ooh.
Yeah. I seen it when I was in middle school, I believe.
Oh no, you're young, man. You are young.
I'm 24.
Anyway, I'm 28.
Goddamn kid, get off my fucking lawn.
Anyway.
Just tone down the sensual male model expressions. Like my daughter's gonna be home from school. I don't want her seeing this shit.
I'm fairly certain your daughter will be fine because she's not going to be concentrating on the sexy face. I think she'll just like him because he's a good person.
Oh dear God.
Plus
yeah, because I know a lot of people that are attractive, and some of them have the shittiest personalities that you can ever think of.
Not a lot of kids are gonna think on sex appeal before they reach puberty.
It's not like any of the villains are gonna look at. So why you bitch about the attractiveness of Peter Parker? It's not like any of the.
You are my body, girl. Come on and let me know.
But
anyway,
why is this guy bitching about the sexiness of Peter Parker when?
So in the first Flash,
it's kind of obvious none of the villains are going to be like, Peter Parker, take me.
No, it's
except for Black Cat. Black Cat would be.
Wait,
no, Black Cat Black Cat would invite MJ along dressed in her suit, and they would give him death by snoo snoo.
The safe word is Uncle Ben.
Peter doesn't proceed to say the safe word, and he fucking dies, and he's like, worth it.
No, Peter's probably just crying as he's about to say it.
No. Here's the thing. And he'd just be like, yeah, that was worth it. You haven't seen that episode of Futurama, have you?
It's
fucking amazing.
I don't watch Futurama.
You should. Futurama's a great show.
Oh my god.
It's a season 3 episode, Amazon him in the mood. It's hilarious. Anyway.
Gordon bully scene, it's not even
Flash Thompson, god damn it.
Peter Parker being picked on. It's some random fucking kid. This is like the first red flag of the movie. If Peter's not even the guy being picked on...
Peter's about to get picked on.
He doesn't show it.
He gets fucking punched. He gets decked.
He gets dunked on in this movie, and then he proceeds to dunk on Flash.
He didn't get bullied immediately. Therefore, he's not a bitch.
Thing's not right here. Honestly, I think the thing is, Andrew Garfield is way too...
He completely skipped over...
tall and way too good looking to be held upside down by his fucking underwear, so it just wouldn't have worked out. So Peter goes to Oscorp.
Yeah, he literally skipped Peter getting dunked on by Flash.
Oh dear God!
He got
okay,
fucking
here's the thing
decked,
about me.
man.
I'll say something about me in high school. I was more of a jester back then, but it didn't matter what you looked like. If I tease someone, if I knew how to tease someone, I would tease them about it. Like, for instance, one of my best friends at the time had like a fifth grader have a crush on her, and I proceeded, and she was like very attractive, and I proceeded to tease her saying, "So you gonna take your date out to Chuck E. Cheese?" Needless to say, yeah, even if you are attractive looking, you will be teased still. You will be roasted.
Yep. Anyway.
Meet Dr. Connors because of some weird shit with his dad. It doesn't really matter.
Weird shit with his dad, it doesn't really matter. You were just bitching about that earlier. How does it... You were just bitching about the subplot, and then the subplot came back and mattered. And now you're saying it doesn't fucking matter. What the hell is going on here? I feel like I'm taking fucking crazy pills.
I see. So you've seen Zoolander too.
Yeah, great movie, great movie. I associate it with 9/11.
It's a cult classic. Anyway.
Sneaks into this demonstration by stealing somebody else's intern badge. Then we have to watch that kid who earned his right to be there while he's dragged out screaming. That's fucked up. So then Peter follows this random
that was
dude.
the point of the joke. That was the entire point of the fucking joke.
And Peter's like,
Welcome to my class on Comedy 101. Setup and payoff.
Yep. Anyway.
Dude, and sneaks into this facility for almost no reason. He came here to see Dr. Connors, but he kind of just goes off and gets himself into danger. I thought that...
Almost like...
Did Marcus forget that the spider research was the reason why he came to Oscorp in the first place?
Yeah.
Dr. Connors just happened to, be there. There as well.
That whole thing about the stuff that you were clearly not paying attention to because you said it didn't matter.
Anyway.
The goal was to talk to Dr. Connors because you thought he had a connection to your dad. How is there nobody else in this part of the facility? How come he can just walk into the spider lair without anybody noticing? Anyway, despite all that, the movie is now going to remind us that it was...
Yeah, he literally snuck in, and why would anyone assume that he would just be able to memorize the password? They don't have people regularly guarding this stuff because it's kind of confidential.
And it's already fucking protected. They think they've got enough security already. His corporate security is notoriously fucked too. So
yeah.
If I remember correctly, a lot of corporations tend to get a little bit lax about security when they think nothing's gonna break in, and then the second some people find an exploit, they proceed to patch it up quickly.
Yeah,
like Toei.
Like, remember anything about Shia LaBeouf's "He Will Not Divide Us"?
The Windu flag, yeah.
The fourth one where they was at a freaking art museum. 3 people proceeded to get on the roof, jump the fucking thing, get onto the other one, and try to take out the flag, but they didn't bring any scissors, so they
I
failed.
picked an interesting frame to pause on because I know Peter's probably looking at something else, but the way it's framed, it looks like he's looking down on Gwen.
Damn,
And-
Gwen, you looking thick.
She's not faced away from him.
Damn, Gwen, you looking thick in the mirror.
Anyway,
Was edited by 3 people.
Okay, we're actually getting to a valid
Yeah.
complaint. Thank you.
Who the fuck cut that sequence together? That was horrible. Which one of you was it?
I don't care.
Somebody has to explain themselves. Now, this scene is almost enjoyable, but the editing is so fucking bad that I can't even have fun watching it. The idea here is that Peter just got bitten by the spider and his powers are kicking in on the subway ride home, so he's basically accidentally fighting people.
I'm so sorry.
I almost like this scene, but editing is very important. Like, every time an attack lands, the screen goes black. It looks like a mistake. That doesn't look like it's there on purpose. So Peter
Well, to be
Parker
fair,
is like in his
they're on
house
the
now,
subway,
and he does.
So it could be just like
He didn't even bring up the fucking continuity errors.
Yeah.
His biggest valid complaint, and he didn't even do it right.
Like Jeremy Scott.
To be fair about the black thing, it could be from the fact that they're in the subway and they're just like in small dark tunnels for a second.
Well, here's what I'm pretty sure that was just used as like, emphasis, sort of like a punctuation mark. Because sometimes sometimes in like fight editing like that, and you'll do like a little bit of a video dropout to emphasize his like disorientation.
Why do you think there's sometimes white flashes whenever someone gets hit in the face and sometimes it's supposedly used for censoring, but other times it's more like to sell a bit of the impact.
Right. Of all the things to complain about, you picked a valid complaint and then came up with something completely the fuck else.
No, it's like he took 2 + 2 and came up with 5.
Oh, wait. Bitches about scene, refuses to elaborate, leaves.
Doesn't know how to control his strength. And this is actually a really cute scene. I'm actually fine with this scene. This is the one first good scene in the movie. Another scene I like is where Peter uses his new powers to beat Flash Thompson at basketball. Not because I actually like the scene, but because it's fucking hilarious. Basketball scenes in superhero movies are always comedy gold. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Now, a lot of other...
Are you kidding? It's showing off what he can do. It's a preview of his powers.
He's flexing on Flash.
Yeah.
That's literally what's going on there.
What the fuck are you complaining about? This isn't... You brought this up and it was like, oh yeah, basketball scenes in superhero movies are always hilarious. And he brings up fucking Catwoman. What did that add to your review, man?
It added nothing.
I got a question, actually. So, remind me again why, like, unimportant scenes are just bad in a movie, because if you ask me, they feel like sprinkles on a cupcake.
Yeah, it's just filler.
Well, it's not even unimportant scenes. It's like it gives you a preview of what he can do for later in the movie. He's getting a hold of his powers. He's learning how to use them. He's fucking around, and that ultimately that leads it's a cause and effect. Him doing that caused Uncle Ben to come to the school, have to switch shifts at the plant or wherever the hell he works, and so that Peter has to go pick up Aunt May, and then Peter spends too much time working with Dr. Connors, doesn't go to pick up Aunt May. That leads to the conflict later in the film. It's a simple cause and effect layout. It's not like there's no fucking point to it,
Right.
I know, but That's his criticism, essentially, and I'm just wondering how that's such a good criticism.
You know what an MCU concept artist ended up coming up with?
What?
Tom Holland in the Venom suit.
Oh, nice.
It looks sick.
That, yeah, I can imagine. I might have actually seen the one you're talking about, but yeah.
I'm sure Tom Holland would be geeking out to wear that. He'd just be like, "Oh my god, it's the Venom suit! It looks awesome!" He would have to struggle to contain himself from posting a picture of it on Instagram. He'd just be like, be strong, be strong, be strong. Anyway.
Critics have talked about how the scenes between Gwen and Peter are actually the one good thing in this series, and I disagree. Here they're annoying because they're
You're about to bitch about the best thing in the entire fucking series. Okay.
And by the way, the term he's about to coin is something that Jeff Thu uses in his review of the Spider-Man 2018 game.
Jeff Thu, Mother's Basement?
Yeah. That piece of shit. He coins... Marcus calls this romantic ad-libbing.
Okay.
Too cute. You know what I mean? Which leads to these scenes being really, really fucking long and consisting of what I can only assume is just Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone ad-libbing and just making shit up. And it just goes on for so long.
Character. It's my uncle. He's a pathological liar, and he thought you were someone else.
Oh, man, you don't have me on your computer.
Yeah, I mean, like, I took a photo of the debate team, and you're in the debate team, so...
Right.
So, he must have seen... I was touching up stuff.
You're touching up stuff?
Come on. I'm not gonna answer that.
Can we fucking move on, please? Then we finally get to this...
It's almost as if Peter is having a hard time explaining about himself to to the object of his affection.
Oh dear God!
It's a common thing.
Yeah, we're developing
I
the relationship between these two characters.
I should know that shit because the fact that in high school I was kind of cringy with how I talk to people that I have a crush on. Needless to say, yeah, it was hard for me to speak. I still have that problem today.
You know,
you don't always know what you're going to say to the object of your affection.
And not even just that, like the scenes serve to develop their fucking relationship. It's almost like you want to have scenes with your main character's love interest so that when you like do things between them, it doesn't seem forced. When they're, being shown as a couple together, it doesn't seem forced. When you eventually fucking kill one of them, the emotional weight is actually fucking there,
And again, even in the MCU kind of did this, because after Peter was forced to let go of Liz Allen, and then she had to move away, he started to develop, he ended up developing a bit of feelings for, he ended up developing a bit of a crush for MJ, who still had a low-key crush on him.
Yeah.
So people who didn't pay attention to the ending of Homecoming, I'm like, did you not see guys, it's not tacked on. It was there.
It's not.
Come on.
Why is he bitching about character development?
He's bitching about a guy and a girl talking to each other because he knows he will never talk to a girl.
Anyway, he claims he has a girlfriend, but
does she live? Does she go to
another channel?
Yeah, does yeah.
Anyway,
the scene where Uncle Ben needs to get killed because we just got to get it out of the way. Peter's just kind of flip-flopping between being a nice guy and being an asshole. It doesn't really seem like he even likes his uncle and his aunt. Then they have a fight.
It's almost like they're in the middle of having a fucking fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way,
that's what happens in the middle of a fight. I know you don't know this, Marcus, because you don't have any friends or family members who love you. But that's what happens.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have family that I'll admit, I talk to my papa. I like to tease him and just like call him an idiot at times, but I still love my papa, no doubt. At the end of the day,
Did he miss
Like,
the
yeah, I
part in the
might be-
movie earlier where he said,
Yeah, like-
"Hey, you're a pretty good dad, Uncle Ben"? You know,
like if
Clearly.
like sometimes you're an asshole to your family members, but you still love them nonetheless.
Yeah.
And Peter runs away. So when Peter runs away, he goes to the store to buy milk. And then a very confusing scenario happens. So Peter goes to the store, he wants to buy his milk, but he doesn't have 2 cents. So he tries to steal 2 pennies out of the little take a penny,
steal.
leave a penny
No,
thing.
it's
Then
not
the guy says,
steal. That's literally what it's there for. That is literally what it's there for, Marcus.
You need to spend $10 to take a penny.
Yeah, and then he goes on to say, and then blah, blah, blah.
Anyway.
Then the guy says no, because obviously that's not how it works.
No. You can leave a penny. You can't take a penny.
What?
You can leave a penny anytime. You have to spend $10 to take a penny.
What?
You can't afford your milk. Just step aside.
What?
But that...
He keeps looping the same bit just to make Peter seem like an idiot.
I think he's trying to do it for comedic effect, but it doesn't.
It's not a good
It's
joke.
not working, and it's not a good joke anyways.
And it's not as good as that editing bit for Batman v Superman where we saw what Diana supposedly was sent by Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce sends Diana pictures of Bully Maguire.
No. He sent her a video of the spinning gorilla to the tune of the Doom music. And I'm like, that completely caught me off guard. That was funny.
I
Anyway.
didn't give you enough milk money today?
What?
It creates this strange scenario because on one hand, Peter's being a huge dick, but the other guy's also being a huge dick. So Peter's like, okay, I can't buy my milk, so he goes to leave. Then the next customer knocks this thing over so that he can steal money from the register, and then he gives Peter the milk. Okay, it makes sense so far. So then Peter's about to leave, and the shopkeeper runs out, and he's like, hey, stop that guy. Hey, random dude who I just talked shit to. Can you please assist me in apprehending a criminal? Why would anybody do that? Even if...
Well, it's almost like the guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of it is like you don't just be an asshole to somebody because they were an asshole to you, you know, because that might cause like problems later, which it does. Do you brainy thinky thing, Marcus?
Omni-Man hasn't told him to think. Anyway.
If you didn't call him a fucking idiot 10 seconds before, no customer would help you chase after an armed thief. So anyway, this is where
a customer would call 911.
Yeah, and also we don't know Carradine's armed at this point.
Yeah. Anyway.
weirdest shit happens. The thief runs a block down the street, and then he trips, and his gun falls out of his pocket or whatever. But Uncle Ben's right in front of him, so he screams, and...
That's actually something you're supposed to do as a last resort.
Yeah, you
or when faced with an armed robber. You
Yeah.
scream at him to get his attention, and then...
It's also meant for disorientation.
Yeah.
It's like you get him focused on the scream, he might not be focused on the fucking gun. And you start, and Uncle Ben was Army Special Forces, just like Pa Kent was. You know, he knows certain things, like you start, you start shouting at somebody, and you start giving them commands so that they'll listen to you if their adrenaline's pumping, because they might not. It's fucking submission tactics 101,
Yeah. So it's not unusual.
It's not unusual
to be loved by anyone.
Yeah.
Tries to go for the gun. Why did you do this? Nobody.
Because the guy has a fucking gun. And he was like, Uncle Ben gave the speech about power and responsibility earlier. Remember? Remember that?
He clearly didn't.
The
Because he
power.
skipped over that scene.
If you can do good things for other people, you have a responsibility to do those things. That's what he said earlier in the fucking movie.
Uncle Ben doesn't even know if the robber was gonna try to rob him anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't know if the guy's about to try and fucking shoot him, and he probably was, considering he's a fucking stone cold killer.
Yeah. Anyway.
But he was in any danger.
Except him and everybody
Except
around
for
him from the guy with the fucking gun.
Yeah, there were people walking down the sidewalk in the earlier shots. So I think there would have been in an immediate danger if a firearm comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the whole point. Anyway.
You trying to die? So yeah, that's how Uncle Ben dies. Like a fucking idiot. After that, we have a scene where Flash...
Uncle Ben tried to be a hero and help people, and that makes him a fucking idiot in Marcus's eyes, I guess.
He would bitch about This guy sounds like he would bitch about the. Okay, let me say my sentence. This guy sounds like he would bitch about the noose being that's gonna hang him. This guy sounds like he would bitch about the fireman stubbing his toe or something trying to save him.
I'd like to know what his I'm trying to think back here. What were his thoughts on Thomas Wayne trying to punch Joe Chill in BVS? Did he have any thoughts, or did he just skip over that?
He skipped over it.
Oh, fucking fantastic! Yeah, a guy trying to save his fucking family from an armed robber.
I mean, hell, in For the Man Who Has Everything, the Justice League Unlimited episode, Thomas Wayne actually does get in quite a few shots at Joe Chill.
Mm-hmm.
Really good episode. Recommend watching it. It's fantastic.
Spectacular.
Anyway.
Flash Thompson is nice to Peter Parker because his uncle died. And I actually like this.
Okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Flash Thompson's was an asshole earlier. That's why Peter wasn't really taking his words seriously.
Yeah.
I mean...
that's why this scene is so good. Flash is, like, growing and changing as a person, and Peter is, like at absolute wit's end and doesn't give a shit, you know?
And this is why we don't talk about MCU Flash Thompson.
And Flash Thompson was on track to be such a good character in these movies, and then they cut all of his scenes out of The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Because of course they did. Anyway.
I actually like this part. 2 good scenes so far. But then, this movie commits what I consider to be the biggest sin in this small series of films. Peter's entire motivation for becoming Spider-Man, for putting on the mask and swinging around, is not, with great power comes great responsibility. I need to protect people.
Except it kind of is.
He does this out of revenge.
Kind of like he did in Sam Raimi's film. I mean, he
donned the mask to get money to impress Mary Jane, but then he ended up starring, and then he did he put on the mask again and to take out Dennis Carradine, and then he put it on, and then he ended up making the new mask, putting it on for the sake of taking on responsibility, because he chose to do something stupid.
Yeah, so it's similar to what's going on here,
Granted, he didn't start really saving anybody until, well, the bridge scene, but you get the idea. Like, he was just going after random people before, or he got the spider suit. Know what I mean, Alex?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, that was kind of what I was about to start saying, because so basically he puts on the suit, starts like actively being a vigilante, so that he can track down Uncle Ben's killer, and then over time he starts doing more stuff and taking on superhero tasks, just because that's what he can do, It's a gradual progression over the course of the fucking film, and by the end of it, he's fully on board with the, power and responsibility thing. It's not that hard a concept to grasp. Like, just because Raimi did it faster doesn't mean this movie is worse.
Right. Anyway.
He scours the streets looking for Uncle Ben's killer. He assaults random people.
Random people? That guy was trying to rape a woman.
Yeah, and on top of that, he was given a description of what Dennis Carradine looked like. Guy with shoulder-length blonde hair, and he had a star mark on his left hand, on his left
so
wrist.
he starts going after criminals. He doesn't just beat up random thugs. He's not a member of Antifa.
Yeah, and he's
this guy bitching about anything he can.
Yeah, basically.
Yep. He wants an excuse to bitch. Also, he draws the Robin mask.
Spider-Man under the Red Hood.
All four Robins would just sneer at him, being like, "Really, dude? No, just no."
Won't recognize him and call the police. This is for real. I can't make
call
this up.
Call the police? No, he did it so they wouldn't hunt him down at his house.
It's like that's the whole point of why he wears the mask.
Why would the gangsters call the fucking cops on him? The hell kind of point was that, Marcus?
Exactly. Anyway.
Man makes his costume in this movie so people won't recognize him for his crimes. This movie treats this as a heroic moment. He's finally Spider-Man. He's doing his thing. But he's not doing it for the right reasons. And as an audience member, you can tell. It doesn't feel right.
Like how he
tonally
put on the mask in Spider-Man 1 so that, they wouldn't notice that he was underage, and so that he wouldn't be immediately recognized by everybody, so that he could get the fucking money. And how he kept the mask on so that he wouldn't be recognized. And then he tore off the mask so that he could look directly in the man who killed his uncle's face, and and all that. Right before he was about to kill him, and then he realized who it was, and he was just like, "Oh shit," and, kind of like that, except it takes a little bit longer for him to get there, like that.
Sadly, we don't even get there. In the sense of him catching Carradine.
Well, yeah.
Carradine just kind of is gone.
Carradine was sort of like a weird recurring aspect in the comics. Like, he got caught, but then he was, set free, and there was some treasure hidden underneath the house, and it was weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
Off here. One of the things that bothers me the most is that he's not even stopping some of these criminals. He lets some of them go because they're not the guy he wants to kill. He's not doing the crime-fighting thing because of selflessness. I cannot express how much I hate this. It really fucks with me. Oh, also, I should mention that the Spider-Man suit in this movie looks like fucking shit.
Them mercy?
He's literally just letting them go because they don't match the exact description.
He's stopping the crimes, but this is before he had the web shooters.
And then he got the web shooters.
And then he left the guys tied up for the police. What the hell was he supposed to do before then? Also, fuck you. I love the spider suit. It's kind of janky, and that's why I like it. It looks like something that, it looks like it's a makeshift spider suit, and it's got more polish than the makeshift spider suit that Tom Holland had after 6 months. So, we see Peter going through iterations of the spider suit in the montage sequence, And then, come Amazing Spider-Man 2, we have the best Spider-Man suit in all of cinema.
He actually does say that that's the best Spider-Man suit.
Cool.
Anyway. I just honestly think that the spider on his chest just kind of bleeds into the red a bit too much.
Yeah, that's that is sort of an issue, but it's
kind of why I do sort of prefer the the first Stark suit in the MCU, but I do get the criticism of the spider emblem being a bit too small.
I prefer the original Stark suit in Civil War, the one that they CGI'd over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like from the behind the scenes stuff.
Yep.
Anyway,
it's awful. He also doesn't do the fucking Spider-Man web shooting hand thing half the time. This thing, he doesn't do that half the time. That's the only thing
Yeah, that's a problem. Except that you can actually see him doing that in this shot.
Yeah, in this shot. In the earlier shot, no.
Yeah, granted it is kind of dark out and the spider suit does kind of blend a little bit, but
yeah,
come on, man.
Expect. This is a Spider-Man movie. This
oh
is
God, I hate that editing fucking much.
That jump cut was weird.
I was like, is this part of the fucking movie, or did something happen to my disc? I'm like, no, that's an actual part of the movie.
Yeah, like I saw this film in theaters. That cut bugged the hell out of me then too.
Wait, what was the cut again?
Oh, it was just a jump cut between
shots.
Between cuts, yeah, between takes.
Anyway.
His hand looks like. This is what it looks like. It's the first thing you have to get right. It's the first fucking thing! So Andrew Garfield has the Spider-Man suit. He has his web shooters. He's confident in his abilities. This is the first scene with him, and he comes across as a fucking villain. He's not funny.
Because Spider-Man is the horror movie monster to the bad guys. That's what the superheroes are.
Yeah, that's kind of what Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk did.
This guy was stealing somebody's car, and Peter being a dick to him, trolling him like he does, that's Spider-Man. That is what Spider-Man does.
Yeah.
That's his bread and butter.
This guy, it sounds like he would bitch about the rope they would hang him with.
Yeah, you already said that.
People are scared of, the criminals are scared of Spider-Man, and that's a thing. That's a thing that happens in the comics.
They're superstitious and cowardly.
Mm-hmm.
He's not funny. He's a jackass. And then he even says he would have beat the shit out of this guy if it was the person he was looking for.
Oof, this could have gotten a lot worse. Now hold still.
This is not Spider-Man. Somebody needs to stop this menace. I'm gonna take a little break.
Well, you're coming off like J. Jonah Jameson.
Can we imagine him? Can we just Photoshop him over J.K. Simmons in the MCU?
No, I'm just picturing him saying, I want pictures of Spider-Man.
No. In the MCU, where he's the Alex Jones ripoff.
Mysterio is the greatest superhero of all time.
Anyway.
Here, guys, to tell you a story. In Amazing Spider-Man 698, we start off...
Oh, we're talking about this story.
Superior Spider-Man.
Yep. Started out good, and then derailment happened.
They turned Otto Octavius back into a villain.
Despite all the character development, that helped make the story work.
Yay.
By the way, the spider emblem here is also really small, like...
Way too small.
Yeah. You can kind of see where the MCU got the idea from.
Yeah, it's almost like they should have changed it.
Off the story by seeing Peter being a little bit off. He's acting kind of similar to how Andrew Garfield acts in this movie. He's kind of mean, but not in an evil way. He's just kind of a dick. And then it gets progressively worse. And as a reader, you're like, okay, wait a minute. It was a little noticeable at first, but at this point, Peter Parker's hitting on women who aren't Mary Jane while he's on a date with Mary Jane. He seems to not really care about the lives of others. Something isn't right here. What is going on? Why is Peter such an asshole in this comic book? But then by the end of the story, you find out that wasn't Peter Parker. That was some other dude. I'm not gonna spoil who it is because that's one of the best Spider-Man stories, but it's so well written.
Spoil who it was! Everybody knows who it was! Everybody knows who it was! It's one of the most well-publicized stories in the history of fucking comics.
It's Otto Octavius.
Oh, okay.
So imagine Alfred Molina as
If I were
possessing.
All day long,
Day long, I
bitty
bitty
bum.
bitty bum.
If
If I were a wealthy man.
Oi!
Oi!
Wouldn't
Anyway.
have to
Because
win
you
it.
as a reader know that something isn't right. Because you're so familiar with Spider-Man. The whole story relies on your expectations of how Peter Parker is supposed to act. People know what kind of person he's supposed to be, even if you don't know Spider-Man that well. What I'm trying to say is that this is the
I'm sorry, I
problem
love
these movies have.
Studiopolis.
If you don't get Peter Parker right, people aren't going to be sold. You're not going to get people to like these movies. It may seem like a small thing, but like I said, the little shit adds up. Now we get to another part of the movie that I like. It's just this shot of Dr. Connors looking at the reflection of his arm. This is a really good shot. I think this is really cool. Anyway, now we have another scene of romantic ad-libbing.
Keep in mind, this is a term that will later be used for, or Jeff Thu's review of Spider-Man 2018, where he says that the chemistry between Peter and Mary Jane in that game is more natural than these two, who in their quote-unquote romantic ad-libbing. Any questions?
No.
Moving on then.
Yeah, they're beautiful, right?
They're beautiful.
They were nice.
No, they're beautiful.
I'm sorry.
No, it's impressive. They actually held together very well.
I also love how Captain Stacy describes Spider-Man in this movie.
He's an amateur who's assaulting civilians in the dead of night. He's clumsy, he leaves clues, but still dangerous.
Yeah, you said it, brother. Fuck Spider-Man. That guy's a menace.
He's a goddamn menace, and I want on his head mounted on my wall.
I want
Sir,
him. I mean,
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
J. Jonah Jameson called. He wants his gimmick back.
Anyway.
Since that scene's over, we have to go back to Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield making strange, inhuman noises at each other.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No. Don't. It's impossible.
Jesse. Why? What?
So after that, the lizard attacks people on a bridge.
Did he completely ignore Kurt Connors turning himself into the lizard?
Yeah, he skipped that. That's why I always start my reviews with a plot summary.
Yep. Just like Mahler. And Nerdrotic.
Technically, I think I started that. Because I started doing that as,
No, I mean, like,
writing my articles.
No, I mean, like, in terms of video format.
Oh, yeah. No, I got you.
Anyway.
And Peter saves them, and he finally learns how to be a fucking hero. The movie is halfway over.
By saving Eobard Thawne's son.
Except he was already kind of a hero, a viral sensation. People liked him because he was stopping criminals, things like that. That we saw earlier that you cut out.
Thawne then goes back to the DC universe and he's like, hey, Barry, guess who I saw? I saw Spider-Man. And I didn't get a picture for you. You bastard. Peace.
And Peter Parker finally learned how to be a good person. But then after that, the lizard finds out who Spider-Man is because Peter Parker put his name on the camera that he brought.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of stupid.
I mean, I wouldn't have brought my main camera with me in that regard. I would have brought like a cheap digital camera, a disposable camera with me, something like that, because the fighting in the sewers, not a great place for expensive camera equipment.
Yeah.
Maybe go out and buy a waterproof camera in one of those waterproof cases.
Yep. Anyway.
Brought to the lizard's secret lair. Are you fucking serious? Come on, man.
Easy, bug boy.
Wait, what did you just say?
Easy, bug boy.
I can't be...
She said bug boy, not fuck boy.
That's not a bad joke.
It's in the script.
I can't be the only one who heard that. Also, I should mention that in these movies, the second one included, the effects are pretty good. The lizard looks like a fucking Goomba from the Mario Brothers movie, but
That's actually a really good comparison.
Yeah, the lizard could look a little less human and more lizard-like. Anyway.
Other than that, things don't look too bad. However, what is bad is the lizard's plan to turn everyone in New York into lizards. I almost can't say that sentence out loud without laughing.
You mean people are pissed off because he tried to turn everyone in New York City into giant lizards?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So yeah, Peter Parker beats up the lizard, Captain Stacy dies, and then his dying wish to Peter Parker is for him not to date Gwen Stacy. Damn, dude, that's cold-blooded. You're gonna do him like that? Alright. But what I love in this is that Peter's actually gonna go through with this. He actually breaks up with Gwen. But then of all people, Aunt May is the one to tell...
Yeah, no, he doesn't really break up with her. He just kind of tries to avoid seeing her. Again, this is part of why we're not killing off George Stacy in our version, because that's stupid.
Also, Dr. Octopus killed him in the original comics. It was an accident,
yeah, Dr. Octopus killed him by shooting a laser out of his mouth.
I'm firing my laser.
No, it's Dr. Octopus. Anyway.
Tell him, hey man, you should go fuck that girl. And he's like, okay, sure, I guess you're right. And yeah, that's how the...
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck her right in the pussy.
Fuck her right in the pussy!
Alex had mentioned a fan fiction where Peter supposedly gave her spider powers via...
Yeah, the exact phrase I used was sexually transmitted spider powers.
That sounds like an STD.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
The movie ends with Peter Parker not
euphemism.
learning his fucking lesson.
Oh yeah, he totally didn't learn his lesson, even though throughout the second movie he does try to distance himself from Gwen.
Peter Parker.
Picked a peck of
No mother, no father, no bitches, and no uncle. You're so alone.
I couldn't resist. Come on.
Pickled peppers, 5 out of 10.
Isn't that like the same rating he gave? Like, that's a higher rating than he gave some of Raimi's films, isn't it?
I think it was only a higher rating than the third Spider-Man movie.
Huh.
So like I said in the last video, I haven't seen this movie before. So is it just as bad as I thought?
That's a question. That's a question.
No.
I still have to ponder what the fuck that is that he's doing. Like, what was Andrew Garfield's direction in this scene?
Just climb over the fucking railing, Andrew.
He's like, so just be as random as possible?
Yes.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Garfield, and welcome to Jackass.
Hi, I'm Spider-Man, and welcome to Jackass. That is an action.
And then Harry Osborn is just like, Peter, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, just play along.
No. It's actually worse. So in the first scene, we see more shit about Peter Parker's parents. I already said why I hate this, but with the context of the last movie, I hate it even more. In this series, the person who makes the radioactive spiders is Peter Parker's dad, and I really don't like that. The idea...
Why are you using Toxic by Britney Spears?
I don't know. His taste in music is more disingenuous than Scott Frerich's. Anyway. Anyway.
The idea of Spider-Man should be that this is just a random thing that could have happened to anybody. Anybody could have walked in there and gotten bitten by the spider and become a superhero. That's what people want to see. Some stories have tried to change that, and they try to imply that, oh, maybe it was Peter's destiny to become Spider-Man. But people really don't like it, so it rarely sticks. So in this first scene, we see the event that kills Peter Parker's parents. I hate saying that. Peter Parker's parents. It just sounds weird. Whatever, anyway.
Now, I will say that this criticism about, like, you know, the spider venom thing using Richard Parker's DNA and all that, and okay, that is perfectly valid. And I don't like that either. That's not an aspect of the film I like.
Yeah, that was redonkulous.
Like trying to make Peter Parker out to be some destined Spider-Man is terrible. It was something they tried to do in Turn Off the Dark. It was something they tried to do with a bunch of storylines in the late 90s and early 2000s. They've tried to do it since then. It doesn't work. Don't do it. It's not good, but I'm pretty sure that was also something that was added by the fucking reshoots because Kurtzman and Archie, oh boy, they fucking love to have, like, Chosen One bullshit. Have you ever watched Transformers 2? Transformers 2 is fucking terrible. Due in part to that.
Anyway.
Wait, this assassin sneaks onto their private jet, and he wants to kill them. I don't really care why he wants to kill them. It really doesn't matter.
It's almost like Oscorp hired an assassin to do away with them.
In the
or this was...
If this was still tied into the MCU, it would have been Bucky Barnes.
No, it would have been Bob, Agent of Hydra. Deadpool just be like, wait, you killed Peter's parents. Yeah? Deadpool then just kicks him in the crotch for good measure.
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm afraid I'm going to have to kill you now.
No, first he kicks him in the dick, and then he stabs him. Hey, because you fucking deserve it. Anyway.
If you remove this scene entirely, it changes absolutely nothing. So this guy's...
about that. It kind of changes a few things. Like the fact that... Like, you know, the video message that Richard Parker leaves behind.
Yeah, that does change a few things. Like, I will say that this is more extraneous than the prequel, the prologue scene from Amazing Spider-Man 1. And it's not as connected as it should be because they cut out about half of the scenes that connect to it. But, you know, it's not something to get this hung up on. There are bigger problems with this film.
So this guy's plan is to kill Peter's parents. He kills the pilot, and he tries to talk to Peter's dad, and then he gloats before killing him, and then they all fight. It might become clear to you immediately that this does not feel like a Spider-Man movie. This feels like a James Bond movie.
Yes, because his parents were spies in the comics, and this is a direct reference to that. That's why it's there.
Yep.
The whole plot about his parents is fucking espionage.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
And he just kind of lackadaisically tends to his wife while working on his fucking computer. Brought to you by Sony, by the way. Maybe you should kind of focus on the fact that there's no pilot for the airplane. I don't know, that's just me. That's what I would do, but what do I know? So anyway, the pilot...
I think based on the blood on that guy's hand, we could safely assume that the pilot is fucking dead.
Yeah.
And
why did
how would they know how to fly a plane?
Yeah, also, can I complain about how Marcus isn't complaining about the fact that there's blood all over that guy's hands, despite the fact that there are incredibly bloodless ways to kill people?
Yeah. Like snapping his neck.
Mm-hmm. Or just choking him to death. Get him in a sleeper hold and stay there for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Not like Richard Parker would suspect anything.
No. In a sleeper hold, the best thing about that, you can't fucking talk. So you can't scream.
And then there was that one time where supposedly where these two guys were talking about stabbing a guy, but then one of them was like, "You do that? Wouldn't he like scream and alert everybody?" And he's like, "Nah, man, that's a misconception." And he said they were going into shock and their lungs would fill up with blood. Stabs the guy and he's screaming.
Yeah, if you're gonna stab somebody, stab them in the throat. This is turning into like a breakdown. Let's move on before I
who's been dead
put myself on any more watch
started
lists.
decides to do this. I mean, sure. Whatever. This is such a stupid fucking scene, and the movie literally just started. This is just the beginning of the film, ladies and gentlemen. So after this, we see Peter Parker, and I have to admit, I actually like this shot. This is literally the only shot in the entire movie that I like. That last scene was so fucking stupid that
the only shot in the movie you like. Okay.
by the time you see Spider-Man, you're like, oh shit, I forgot what movie I was seeing. All right, let's go. Also, like I said before, the effects in both of these movies are pretty good. And the Spider-Man suit in this one is probably the best looking movie suit out of all of them. That's it. Those are the only things I'm gonna say nice about this movie.
And like I said in our commentary, they kind of accentuate the spider ass. They do this with every spider suit in the Marvel in these movies.
It's got nothing on the fucking super suits from the boys. Because I am pretty well certain that all of those suits are padded to hell. Both in universe and out.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Because for about 30 seconds into this sequence, you think to yourself, okay, this movie might not be as bad as everybody says. Maybe I won't mind that much. But yeah, no, this movie is fucking terrible. Everything is wrong with it. So the movie starts with Peter chasing the Rhino downtown. Now, people have mentioned this before, so I'll bring it up very briefly. But instead of stopping the Rhino right when he has the chance, he instead tells jokes and fucks around and lets the Rhino kill people and cause more damage.
Didn't you get onto him in the first one for, like, being too fucking
serious?
Yeah.
He's giving Peter shit for the trolling the criminals thing. The trolling the criminals thing is the best part. The fact that he's like so goofy and lighthearted while he's taking these guys down is part of why he's so scary to them.
And meanwhile, our version of Connor Kent would just troll people by floating upside down, being like, hey,
knock it off.
He'd just be like, what the fuck? He just does that to fuck around with them. He's like, guys, we need to have a talk. Good talk. It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
And then after
he's fucking dead. Oh, that guy was fucking dead. Anyway, we get to, again, Jamie Foxx being supposedly a nerd. Nope, this can't work. This will never work.
People die, he hangs out with Jamie Foxx in this really weird-ass interaction.
Like that. Right, listen to me. Now I need you. You're my eyes and ears out here. All right?
All right.
You are my number one guy. Anyway.
What the fuck? Peter Parker, there is a man killing people. Can you stop fucking around? Oh, by the way, I really quick have to show you guys something. Now, there's a problem with these movies that I didn't mention when I was talking about the last movie, because it's way worse in this one.
Yeah.
And that is Peter Parker.
Did you get rid of the stream thing?
Yeah, I thought you were watching on the watch together. I didn't.
I was on stream.
Oh shit. Okay, let me fix that.
Sorry.
Anyway, back to the movie.
Parker's weird accent.
Yeah, you better hurry up. Party's over.
Use our technical difficulty. Or mine.
He's now critiquing Andrew Garfield's New York accent.
Well, to be fair, I'd be critiquing someone for even wanting to have a New York accent.
Here's the thing. I know Alex has given shit to Tom Holland's New York accent, but let's see how he reacts to Marcus's opinion.
He has this rough New Yorker accent, and in this one, it's just way too aggressive. It's like the fake voice that Tom Holland uses as a joke in Homecoming.
My dad left a briefcase. That's all I got, briefcase full of junk. Whatever, I don't know, I try to think about it.
Hey, how you doing? Don't worry about it, I got you.
Also, if you thought the editing in the last movie was bad, this is just incomprehensible.
Yeah, because this
Sometimes
film
you'll
is
have a
reshoot city. Also, no. If anything, Tom Holland should have been speaking like that through the entire fucking movie.
Maybe for like his, yeah, maybe for his maybe for like the Spider-Man persona.
No,
but
for both
not-
personas.
That wouldn't help.
No, it would. And then have
Alex-
him, and then have
Alex-
him drop his voice even lower for Spider-Man, so that he sounds like he's. Sounds like he's like this.
Or maybe.
Alex.
Oh, would you prefer he starts putting on this kind of voice then? Like he's Joey Wheeler?
I would prefer him
Brooklyn Rage.
I would prefer him to speak normally as Peter Parker and put on the faux New York accent as Spider-Man.
What if he speaks normally as Spider-Man and puts on the New York accent as Peter?
That wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Scene where you can tell that they just mashed two takes together that didn't have anything to do with one another. Characters will be talking, and then the next line is responding to something that we haven't even heard.
All night? I want
I'm
to hear
gonna
it
see
all
this
night long.
over and over again, all night long.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Okay.
It's kind of hard to explain, but it makes the scenes very confusing. So Peter's getting like these weird
Yeah, that's a product of the editing. That's a valid complaint. Move on.
PTSD flashbacks of Captain Stacy, so he decides that he's actually going to dump Gwen
Ghost
once and for
Dad
all.
2,
He gets
the
back with her like 8
ghosting,
times
eh?
in the movie, so this really doesn't matter. But for now, Peter Parker is single, and he is going to do Spider-Man stuff. We get a nice montage of Peter being Spider-Man, and I actually really like this montage. If I just think of this montage without any other context, I would not assume that it's from this movie.
You're that spider guy.
Up by the bed.
Huh?
Of Spider-Man.
Remember when I said there was no more good stuff in this movie?
Why does he sound like the Hishy Spider-Man end song?
I don't know.
That was weird. Anyway.
For real, I mean it. This is the last scene that's good. So now we see Jamie Foxx again, and he is now a delusional mess because Spider-Man was fucking flirting with him earlier. He now thinks Spider-Man is his roommate slash best friend. Even Gwen gets kind of upset that Spider-Man and him shared a little romantic moment together. So
No, she's upset at the fact that he's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, she's like, okay, weirdo, I'm gonna go now. Anyway.
After that, we are shown Harry Osborn, played by Dane DeHaan. And he just literally shows up in the movie. And he acts like he was there from the very beginning. In his subplot, he finds out that his dad, Norman Osborn, is dying from the Osborn curse. Their words, not mine. It is a disease that is never explained that Harry is now dying from. So basically, he just enters the scene, finds out that he's dying, and that's going to be what the movie's about. So this eventually leads
for God's sakes, it's like a genetic disease. It sounds like a genetic disease. It doesn't have to be explicit.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It just kind of comes out. It's just they tack these on.
Yeah, that was kind of bullshit. It was a very weak setup. We critiqued that in our review.
Yep.
I mean, it still sounds like okay. It still sounds like a genetic disease that's, you know, from like a family member to family member.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. You don't need the fucking goblin disease shit to make, you know, the Green Goblin happen. It doesn't matter. Or you don't.
You know how Spectacular did it? Performance enhancers, and they had the suit.
Yep. You know how Raimi did it? Norman got fucking desperate.
Yeah, and performance enhancers plus the suit.
If it would have been Norman getting desperate, then it's like you could have made this plot work if like Norman was dying, and then they give him the drugs, and at the end of the movie, he's like, you know, thrashing around, flailing, and he's like, Harry is like watching him like tearing himself apart like he does, like Harry does at the end of this film. And then like in after Peter beats Electro and all the cool shit happens, and we see like a scene of like the next day, and Harry comes up to Norman and he's like Dad, are you okay? And he's just buff as fuck. Never been better, son. Just like that. That would have been fucking great.
But no.
Yeah, we had to take the stupid route because Kurtzman and Archie were working on this movie, and smart things must go away.
Yep.
To Harry looking for ways to cure himself, which brings him to the conclusion that he needs Spider-Man's blood to create a cure. What the fuck? It might...
Isn't it actually explained why he needs the spider blood?
Yeah, he figures out that, through... It's not exactly completely contrived, but it is kind of contrived. He finds out, he figures, well, Spider-Man was probably, bitten by those spiders that we made, right? Right, so, if, he's got all this shit he can do, maybe his blood has the serum in it, and we can use that to help me, It's not that stupid a conclusion to come to, especially, as a young guy who's afraid of dying. His dad just died, and, he's like, fuck.
Yes, and he's looking very pale himself.
Yeah, he's getting some problems arising. And it's stupid, but it's not as stupid as he's making it out to be,
Yeah.
It might now become apparent to you that this movie has a lot going on. It's like how in Spider-Man 3 had a bunch of subplots that were trying to fight for the spotlight, except here, they're all happening at the same time, and they have nothing to do with one another. You've got Peter Parker fucking looking for his parents, which goes nowhere and just kind of ends. You've got Peter and Mary Jane, sorry, who the fuck is this? Gwen Stacy? Whatever. Peter and this chick fucking going back and forth, will they, won't they?
That
The
joke
whole
was
movie-
terrible. You should feel ashamed of yourself.
Yep. Anyway.
And then she fucking dies, so whatever. You have Harry looking for a cure for his fucking leper disease, which has nothing to do with the other two plot lines that I described. It's really hard to talk about why this movie doesn't make sense, because as you watch it, you'll realize it just doesn't make any sense. You won't know what's happening. So anyway, Jamie Foxx falls into a vat of
It's easy to understand what's happening, it's just that I don't like a lot of what's happening.
Yeah.
Eels, and he turns into Electro. And yes, like many have said before me, the electric eels magically fix the gap between his teeth. This is something completely superfluous that doesn't even need to happen. Yet when you see it, you cannot stop wondering why it happened. So in the next scene, we see more characters that were supposed to have future films. You're in this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we've reached the point in the movie where Harry and Peter have to meet each other, and the movie expects us to believe that they have been friends for years. Hold on a second. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'd have had Harry be in the first film if I was planning all this stuff out,
It's almost like someone when making these didn't plan most of this stuff.
That's why you have to have a real plan as opposed to a fake one, J.J. Abrams.
Kevin Feige had a plan, but then he fumbled.
Anyways.
What? This comes out of fucking nowhere. Why didn't you mention this before? Harry has never been mentioned in the entire last movie. Why did you act like you...
At the very least, the MCU didn't have this whole shindig going on, because it's like whoever was there is just there. If they were already established in one movie, then they're in the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like obviously we see Ned Leeds, and then Need's in the first movie, and then we are given the indication that these two are friends just from Ned approaching him with the Palpatine in Lego.
Yeah, that was very well done in that, and then like they paid it off incredibly well at the end of No Way Home, and then they used Palpatine better in No Way Home than they did in the sequel trilogy, and it was fucking embarrassing.
I still love the fact, like, Peter gets into his apartment, closes the door with his webbing, and after taking off his mask, Ned just sits there with a slack-jawed look on his face.
And drops the Death Star on the floor.
That
was good. That was actually really good.
I'm just like, yeah, that's a reasonable reaction to finding out your best friend's Spider-Man. You just drop everything, and you're like, what the fuck? Anyway.
You knew nothing about Oscorp in the last movie, but you secretly knew the heir to the Oscorp Empire? We get this scene of them skipping stones and talking about how good of friends they are. It's like the most cliche shit I've ever seen. I hate this. It's like those scenes...
Can we get a scene of them throwing the football around, like, in the room? Just to tack on...
Hi, Peter.
Just to tack on more forced chemistry.
Oh, hi, Harry.
Hey, how's your sex life?
It has to be, oh, hi, Peter, because James Franco played Tommy Wiseau.
It is not true. I did not kill Gwen. It is bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Peter.
It's like those scenes in the Star Wars prequels where Obi-Wan and Anakin talk about how they're great friends and they did all these adventures that we don't get to see.
It's almost like a lot of time has passed in between movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's implied through their interactions what happened.
This is also something that happens between people in real life. They'll discuss things they've done with each other. And it's like, hey, you remember that thing we did in that place? Like, yeah, I remember that. You remember that?
Yeah, and Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen have some decent chemistry from the get-go. So that's a bit disingenuous, Marcus, again.
You fell into that nightmare, Master, and I rescued you, remember?
Oh, yes. Anyway, we have another scene of Peter and Gwen.
He says that in a
fucking
sarcastic
improvised
manner.
dialogue. These two were dating when the movie was filmed, so I'm pretty sure they just turned on the camera and they were like, okay, Emma, Andrew, just go hang out. We're gonna record you hanging out. It'll be great. We'll put it in the movie. We'll do it for every fucking scene.
No more of this. No more of this little nose rub you do.
This?
Something I haven't paid.
What am I supposed to do? It's allergy season.
This is killing me. I got you. You're just spitting in the face of my brown nose. I'm not.
He says that this is dragging things out, yet he drags on these movies for so long.
Spending too much time on things that don't matter, or such as complaining about things that actually develop the character. Are you gonna bitch about Gwen's death at the end of this? I bet you are.
And he sort of did, but we'll get to that.
And then in this conversation, he admits to her that he's been following her on the fucking rooftops dressed as Spider-Man. And this somehow doesn't scare the shit out of her. So now Electro, with his newfound powers, goes into Times Square and makes a big ol' ruckus. And he gets kind of upset and scared, so Spider-Man tries to calm him down. Now, I've heard a lot of people in their reviews say that this scene is stupid because Electro only becomes evil after Spider-Man forgets his name. But that's not really what happens. What really happens is somehow stupider if you really think about it. We see that Max Dillon is not very mentally stable here. He thinks that Spider-Man is his best fucking friend. Spider-Man noticing his name tag in the beginning of the movie was something that was very important to him. So if it actually happened that way, I would have bought it. I would have been fine with it. But no, when Peter forgets his name, he's actually pretty chill about it. He's not that upset. He gets over it. However, right after that, Peter saves this guy from a falling building.
Plus, Peter actually does remember his name in the scene that he's talking about.
Yes, he does.
And it's only because that one guy tried sniping him, that's why things derailed.
Yeah. When you edit, you can edit a film to make anything look like it does, you know, what you say it does.
Editing is
Jeremy Scott does it all the time. I mean, hell, in his Captain America Civil War Winter Soldier, he says like, "Oh, what did Steve oh, why does Steve Rogers feel like he got... Like, what did Steve Rogers get knocked down from? He got knocked down from shielding himself from a grenade round.
Yeah.
And got sent flying through a bus. I think even a super soldier would feel a little winded after that.
Did you fall asleep while watching the goddamn movie, Jeremy?
He watches the movie but doesn't. That's the paradox.
Billboard, and everybody cheers for him. And then all the screens in Times Square show Spider-Man instead of Electro. Now, first of all, why is everybody gathered around to watch this happen? That's kind of a...
Because it's New York.
Yeah, it's Times Square. They were literally already there to begin with. Plus, they're seeing their hero fight against what they presume is a bad guy. So of course they're going to be gathered here.
A theme in this movie, every fight scene that happens has fucking people just standing around. Police usually make people go...
It's almost as if this is fucking New York, and New York is filled with people, and when they see stuff that's going on, they're like, yo, you gotta check this shit out.
First responders even have a word for it. They're called looky-loos.
Yeah.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, like people will okay, so go watch Fire Department Chronicles for some better breakdowns on this stuff. But people will just gather around to watch stuff like this. Like disasters, crimes.
It's like a train wreck.
Yeah.
You just can't look away. Anyway.
Go away when there's an emergency. But in this movie, whenever there's a fucking fight, people just show up to watch like it's New Year's Eve. People even bring their fucking children. This is not where you want your kid to be. They could get shot.
Bring the children. They were already there.
Yeah, and she didn't bring him with her. He just came along.
Shot. Something bad could fucking happen. So after this, Electro decides that Spider-Man is his true enemy, and he attacks him and the people on the Times Square steps. Now, I admit this is kind of nitpicky, but the people start running up the steps. But in Times Square, those steps don't go...
They're trying to do anything they can to get away from Electro. Human beings don't always think rationally in dangerous situations. It's why you have to like train people to do things. You know, you have to train people to act certain ways in stressful situations. And all they're trying to do is get away from him, and they're probably gonna jump off the steps and hide behind them, for fuck's sake.
I mean they just realize, oh wait, now we could be in trouble because he's gonna actively go after us.
Anyway,
go anywhere. Where are you guys running to? But after that
video, he'd be like, "Well, what? Well, you're being hypocritical because you got on to me about this, but when they're not doing that, well, you know what I'm trying to say."
I
right?
like how he's bitching about this, but he doesn't talk about how like this has some of the coolest cinematography in the history of filmmaking.
Yeah. Also, CNN.
Ding.
Fuck CNN. Fuck CNN.
Just CNN.
They just go down the steps anyway, so what the fuck was the point of that? So after that, Electro flies around killing people until Spider-Man sprays him with...
Did he actually kill people in this scene?
He was shooting lightning at them. I don't know that he killed anybody.
Yeah, so unless
lightning is incredibly difficult to control, as Nikola Tesla found out.
Yep.
The hose. Spider-Man literally left the fight, put on a fireman's hat, and then saved the people who were being murdered.
So that he could go grab the fucking hose? Because... Okay, look, firemen's hoses are difficult to control. He needed to go grab the fire hose, he needed help to hold the hose, and he grabbed the hat while he was there. It probably took him like 2 seconds to grab the hat and put it on. He needed to get the fucking hose to ground out Electro.
Yeah, he was like, hey guys, I need your help. Oh, can you come here for a second?
And then that was probably what... And then they saved the day. Boom.
Yep.
The fucking hat just shows me that you were wasting time when people were being murdered. Peter Parker just doesn't care.
It's a reference to It's a reference to Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Peter wore stuff like that.
Anyway, this
all the
movie
time.
isn't even halfway over, and we haven't even seen the other villain yet. Also, hey, look, I'm in the movie. Brought to you by Sony. Oh, and right after that, brought to you by Sony again. Jesus Christ, at least space them out. After that scene, we get to the real reason why I personally have never seen this movie. And the reason isn't exactly what you might expect. Out of nowhere, the next scene is a montage of Peter deciding to do some detective work to find out secrets about his dad. Why is he deciding to do this now? Well, because the movie wants him to. He just had a fight with Electro that he barely won. He just had a fight with Gwen Stacy that he didn't win. Instead of solving the problems that have already been established in the film, he's gonna act like
It's almost like, it's almost like he's trying to distract himself from the obvious problems he has by going over some of the other things that have been going on in his life. It's a thing that people do. Who they distract themselves by going over her, doing other shit, and going back to like old problems and trying to solve them.
Yep.
Jesus
Anyway.
Christ.
those problems don't exist, and he's gonna do something completely different, because the screenplay is a fucking mess. And during this montage, we have the song Gone, Gone, Gone by Philip Phillips, also known as the For You song.
And I will do it for
And I fucking hate this song! This song is on my list of most hated songs in the entire world, right under Crocodile Rock and Bad Reputation.
Crocodile Rock and Bad... Those are fucking great! Those are fucking great songs!
I guess he hates Shrek then.
Do you... Why would you hate on Elton John and Joan Jett? Come on, man! Like, I'll give the movie shit for because it's just a fucking modern pop song, you know. It's not a
and again, Marcus proves that he's disingenuous about his taste in music.
It's not something that this version of Peter Parker would listen to because, like I said in our review, he's got classic rock memorabilia all over his fucking room. He should be listening to the Ramones or something like that, and pull out some fucking Rolling Stones or the Beatles or something. And he's got shit all over his room from rock bands and from like all over the place, and he listens to this modern pop stuff that's owned by Sony because of course he fucking does.
Anyway,
and here I
Bad
am
Reputation.
posting in the server a song from like the fucking 80s.
I kind of like Bad Reputation when it's in Freaks and Geeks. Hey, we talked about Freaks and Geeks twice in one video. Look at that. Now, my friends know that I hate this song with a burning passion. And when they went to go see this movie without me, I asked them how it was, and they were like, don't see it. The fucking For You song is in it. And that is the reason why I have never seen this movie until today.
That is
because I don't like
incredibly
that song.
petty.
So then Harry called.
Yeah.
That is the pettiest thing I've ever heard.
It's only how long is that song in that movie?
Not very long.
Wow, it's not even. Would it be only like 1 minute? You just not watch a movie because of 1 minute song that you could probably plug your ears up to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, granted, 1 minute can fucking ruin a movie, but still.
Anyway.
Calls him up in the middle of this and he's like, hey, bitch, remember, I'm still in the fucking movie. And then he's like, hey, listen, I need Spider-Man's blood because I need to heal my mysterious fake movie disease.
He can do everything else a spider can, including self-heal.
Wait, what? How do you know that? How do you know he can self-heal? That
Also
never
Metallic
happens in
Madness.
The movie. It's one of his powers in the comics, but he's not fucking Wolverine. He can't just regenerate. Are you okay?
Yeah,
do you need a copy of the script right now?
Sort of a
There's no reason for
diegetic understanding of what he can do, but at the same time, like Harry isn't
has the
exactly
healing.
Harry's not exactly thinking straight right now.
Yeah, and he has a healing factor. It's just, not in the same vein as Wolverine. It's just he has slightly faster healing than
And I will
people.
say I gave the movie plenty of shit for that, and it does deserve plenty of shit for that. But at the same time, like I can sort of understand where they're coming from. Harry is making big leaps in logic because he's desperately afraid of dying painful death like his dad did. It's not... It's bad, but it's not as terrible as Marcus is making it out to be.
Yeah. Anyway.
For Peter Parker to say no to this. His buddy's like, hey man, I need this dude's blood or I'm gonna die. And Peter's like, ew, no. I don't want to do that. So now Peter shows up.
He's not being petty about it. He's telling him he doesn't know if that'll do anything worse to him.
Yeah, it's like...
He's worried.
If I'm Peter in this situation, and I'd just be like, all right, let's go somewhere private. I need to show you something. And Harry'd be like, why are you taking off all your clothes? Is this some... I'm not into you that way, buddy. And it's like, no, what? No, I'm Spider-Man. And it's like, oh.
Listen, bro, I have no idea if this is gonna, like, fuck you up, so I can't.
Look, here, we'll take some of my blood, we'll put it in like a mass spectrometer or whatever the hell thing, and we'll figure this out. We'll do this right, you know, because I don't want you to die, but we're different blood types. You remember that science project we did in high school, where they made us check our blood type? We're different blood types. Things might be different. And, you know, it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. Then let's have a perfectly rational discussion about this, like human beings, and not poorly written characters who act like they belong in Michael Bay's Transformers movies.
Which speaking of, guess who were the hacks that wrote this film?
Who ruined this film?
Goes up to Harry's house dressed as Spider-Man just to tell him that he doesn't want to give him his blood. Not only is he being an asshole by not giving him his blood, he's being even more of an asshole by just showing up to tell him that he's not going to give him his blood. He's gonna die anyway. I don't see you trying to help with any other ideas.
You're a fraud, Spider-Man!
Okay, I take it back. This movie is hilarious. And then, after that, Peter, in a fit of rage, throws his calculator at the wall.
There's a difference between giving someone blood to save them and worrying about the fact that they might fucking go out even worse.
Yeah, and he's also worried about him transforming into the human spider from the comics.
Oh, and...
By the way, the human spider is a real thing. He's an 8-armed version of Spider-Man.
Oh, and an even better... Marcus skipped over the scene where Peter talks with Aunt May about what happened, and with Richard Parker, and Aunt May... It reveals what she was told, and Peter actually believed her, and that's why he went to Harry to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's the thing.
And then this scene kind of leads into him going into the subway and finding out that was all a lie.
Marcus is not paying attention to the fucking movie.
I actually want to say something about the point of not wanting someone to die horribly or whatever, even though that they might die anyways. Actually, a month ago, I had a great grandma who was going to pass, and I wanted her to live, even though she was she had a pretty bad stroke and all that, and
yeah,
I wanted her to live and all that, but she was really old.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just didn't know what to think. A part of me wanted her to go away peacefully so she wouldn't suffer, but another part of me wanted her to live.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's not like because the fact is, when you're suffering as you're living, and having the potential to do that to someone, that would probably fuck somebody up.
Mm-hmm. Abso-fucking-lutely.
I wouldn't know what to think. I'd probably be worried that I might fuck up his life even more.
Yeah. Plus, Peter already saw what happened with Connors. Like, he fucked that up. He fucked that up big time. Connors turned into a lizard and tried to make everybody else a lizard. And it's like, yeah, maybe I'm probably not going to do that again.
Anyway.
And then inside the calculator are these fucking gold doubloons that I guess his dad...
There's subway tokens that were talked about out earlier in the movie. You disingenuous fuck.
And in The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Mm-hmm.
This guy
his
sounds
dad
like a fucking
hid.
asshole.
That he is. Oh, and he's also Kick Vic on top of that.
Oh, of course he is.
Fucking course.
We talked about this before. Marcus has actually... He's like, note to self, never bring your girlfriend to a con with Vic Mignogna again.
As if he would ever have a girlfriend.
He's talking about his right hand.
Okay. Sure. But then Peter brings them into the subway and uses them on this random coin slot, and then a train comes out of the fucking ground.
Peter honestly thought that the wall was going to open up.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to expect.
This is stupid, but it's a comic book movie. We can give it this level of stupidity. Hey, I won't give it certain other levels of stupidity.
I mean, let's think about it like this. Every single fucking movie has their own ridiculous shit that if you describe to somebody in real life, they think, yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
So bitching about something being ridiculous is just stupid for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like
if it's plot contrivances, sure. I'll bitch about not that. I'll bitch about ridiculous shit if it's like narrative destroying, but like this is a science fiction movie. I can give Richard Parker having some kind of secret hideout.
Like, if something doesn't make sense,
by now, I've forgotten that Electro is in this.
It can work if it's a chaotic realm, like, I don't know, Bizarro realm or something.
Anyway. Hey, so after that, Harry goes to Electro.
The pacing in this movie is so fucking bad.
The pacing of your review is worse.
Yeah, the pacing wasn't great, and you've made it exponentially more poor.
Mm-hmm.
This is the hardest review I've ever made, because I can just tell you what happens, and you just have to assume that I'm not leaving anything out, because I'm telling you.
Except you do.
Yeah, you've left a bunch of stuff out.
This is the hardest review of yours that I had to sit through.
Everything. This doesn't make any sense. So the subplot about his dad ends here. He finds out that his dad made the spiders, which is something we already fucking knew!
We already knew, Peter didn't know.
So moving
stuff that the audience doesn't, stuff that the audience knows is not stuff the characters know.
Mm-hmm.
Now Harry is brooding on his Blade Runner set, and Jyn Erso comes to comfort him, because they want to remind you that she is actually in the movie.
Go home, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
So then Harry gets framed for what happened to Electro, and he gets kicked out of Oscorp. He then...
completely ignoring the plot that set up that particular bit.
Yes.
Anyway,
what happened?
Basically, the higher-ups in Oscorp were trying to espionage to get Harry kicked out.
Yeah, Harry was like a barrier for them. Harry was causing them problems. He was finding out, and this makes more sense when you find out.
He was finding out the skeletons in their closet.
Yeah, the skeletons in their closet, including Oscorp keeping an eye on him and Peter while they were kids.
Yep.
Which was cut out of the theatrical release of the movie and only available on the Blu-ray and DVD. Which would have been fucking great.
What's the difference between Blu-ray and regular?
Okay, Blu-ray is capable of MPEG-4 encoding and lossless audio. DVD has MPEG-2, and then there's obviously the 1920 by 1080 resolution versus the 640 by 480 anamorphic resolution of DVD. Blu-ray is a fixed aspect ratio. DVD is anamorphic by its nature.
Anyway.
Breaks into the facility that Electro is in by overpowering the armed guards. Now, I'm not really a very big guy myself.
Look at that fucking tool. He's ready to eat the hot dog.
I'm not gonna shitpost on his appearance. I'm not gonna be mean.
Alex, I know you will.
Close your mouth.
Just no, Alex.
The guy looks happy in this photo. I'm not gonna.
No, Alex. Take the photo here and then put a hot dog inside of the mouth.
Why is he soy facing? Why is he doing that thing where he opens his teeth to smile? Well, nobody does that except for fucking him and other guys like him.
Yeah.
Open mouth smiling is not a open
Not
lips
a thing.
smiling thing. Okay, open mouth smiling thing. That's like it either looks threatening or really fucking stupid. Don't do it.
Again, just if you take the screenshot of this, just put the hot dog inside the mouth.
Don't.
Do it. Do it.
Don't.
Do it.
Let's be the bigger people and show that
No.
we're better.
No.
Yeah.
So believe me when I say with confidence that I could definitely kick Dane DeHaan's ass. So to have me believe that he overpowers 2 fully grown armed guards, sorry, I'm not buying it. So then Electro and Harry go into Oscorp, they kill a bunch of people, and then Harry finds the crowd.
He literally grabs a taser out of one of their holsters and just overpowers them with nary an effort. It's stupid.
I mean,
Plus, this guy's a skinny motherfucker.
I mean, I can believe that he could do something like that, but it's like Oscorp needs to go find better trained guards.
Anyway,
Patty's secret formula that will heal his mysterious disease, and then he just immediately becomes the Green Goblin. Fine. I don't care. So at this point, the only thing I have to look forward to is the fight between Peter and the bad guys. But then Gwen Stacy kills Electro with a car, and then Peter blows him up. So yeah, in this movie, Spider-Man just blew the villain up. I just don't have it in me to care anymore.
How many people have been murked in Spider-Man movies?
Lots. Fucking lots.
So how is this any different?
Because I want to bitch about this movie.
Yeah. Anyway.
Now normally this is where the movie would end, but we have a whole other supervillain that was thrown in at the last minute that we have to deal with. So after Electro dies, Harry shows up and we finally see that he looks like this now. Even the characters don't know how to react to how horrible he looks. Like, look at his face. He's like, oh shit, maybe I don't look as cool as I thought. So yeah, I guess they didn't want another Power Ranger looking Green Goblin. Yeah, instead, let's make him look like a fucking crackhead. So then they have a really quick fight. And when I say...
Okay, pause it. This is why Spider-Man probably didn't want to give him his blood, because that blood probably would have done that to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There was a bit more contrivance in that scene where Harry was able to figure out that Peter was Spider-Man just by his close proximity to Gwen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Really quick. I mean really quick. And as I said, the whole purpose of this fight and this movie was to kill Gwen Stacy. So, Gwen Stacy dies. Personally, as a big...
I have no words. Anybody?
I mean, if he's gonna do dark humor, you might as well do it fucking right.
He didn't even do that right. It was actually a well done scene. It's just the context leading up to it is shit.
Fair enough.
Anyway.
As a big Spider-Man fan, I feel like killing Gwen
I
Stacy
dispute that.
isn't really...
I highly dispute that.
My point or his?
His. As a big Spider-Man fan, I don't think you are, Cosmo.
No.
possible
That's
in
not
a movie.
point
The
for
death of
Marvel's
Gwen
statement.
Stacy is one of the most important comics of all time. Back then, you didn't kill the love interest. You didn't kill Lois Lane. It just wasn't done. The story's good because it showed that comics finally grew up. It showed that comics could do whatever they wanted and they could subvert your expectations. The whole purpose of the story is to surprise you. Everybody knows Gwen Stacy as Spider-Man's girlfriend who dies. You can't put her in movies because people already know what's gonna happen. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try, but you should try way harder than this. So the movie's wrapping up and Peter Parker is sad and he's like, I'm not gonna be Spider-Man anymore. This is all my fault. And yeah, it actually is, so I'm glad you realize now. But
you sure about that?
Because I kind of feel like Harry had some kind of hand in that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
name
almost
the...
like there was a. It's almost like there was a villain that caused those circumstances.
Okay, I got a question. How many times have we seen this before? Guy tries to help other guy gets fucked over because of the first guy's help. Other guy wants vengeance on first guy for turning him into a monster.
The thing is that sometimes just because you do good things doesn't mean good things will happen to you.
Oh, I know. I'm just still bitching about him saying Spider-Man should have totally helped out Harry Osborn.
Yep.
then he watches like a fucking...
wouldn't have happened.
I sincerely doubt that. It would have happened one way or the other.
Is like a fucking YouTube video of Gwen or whatever, and then he gets over it. Just like that. Brought to you by Sony. After all the bullshit in this movie, it ends the same way that it begins. With Peter Parker showboating and putting random people's lives at risk and having...
What lives has he put in risk by taking taking the aim away from the civilians and the police? Like, he literally made it so that Rhino's attention was solely on him. And he deflected all those missiles away from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, who was he endangering exactly?
Our sanity.
Right. Anyway.
Not learned a damn thing. Personally, I have had enough of bad Spider-Man movies, so I'm done making Spider-Man videos for a while. I need my fucking rest, okay, guys? So I'm giving this terrible movie a 2 out of 10. I honestly wonder sometimes what The Amazing Spider-Man 3 would have been like. Maybe it would have been pretty good. Or maybe...
Part of the discussion was that possibly in 3, there was this idea at one point that Spider-Man would be able to take this formula and regenerate the people in his life that had died. So there was this discussion about that Captain Stacy would come back even bigger and...
Yeah, actually, never mind. I'm good.
And that's the end of the video because he does a distorted for you. He does the distorted gone on bit for the credits. So, and I'm not going to sit through that. So that was our session of Marcus's TASM 2.
That was fun.
No, it wasn't. It was
Didn't you
painful.
enjoy suffering, though? Aw.
No. Besides, I gotta get ready for bed because work is later today.
Guys, look at
Anyway.
the stream. Look at the stream, guys. Guys.
Yeah.
I need you to look at the stream. I did a bit of light graphic design while the video was finishing up.
My God, why?
He's ready.
On,
He's ready for the hot dog.
Guys. Sometimes I feel like I'm the morality.
That's why we inducted you into the cult. We needed a center of our morals. Because we had none before you.
Anyway, I'm gonna go now. I'll talk to you guys later tonight.
Yep.
Bye.
See y'all later. Bye. I leave you with this image. May
I'm
it
not
come
gonna
to
call-
may it come to you in your